Hey everyone. Before we get started on today's episode, I want to draw your attention to the jam flyer shown on the screen. It's for the Lost Bowl Jam, July 19th, 2025. It's taking place in Ithaca, New York, hosted by Alex Capalongo. Originally, this episode was supposed to come out earlier, and we would have talked about this in the episode, but I want to draw your attention right at the beginning in case you only catch some of this, and so that you have time to plan for showing up. So, otherwise, enjoy the rest of this episode. Welcome back to the GrindWorks podcasting couch. We haven't done a video one in a while, so this is cool. So, welcome Alex Capalongo to the podcast.
Glad to be here.
If I feel like it, I'll put a round of applause in there, but I don't know if I'll remember. So funny thing about video podcasts is they are so much easier to be like, nope, not doing anything to it. Because it's already ready.
Yeah.
Where like when I do the audio only, I have to sit down and create some sort of environment for it to go on YouTube anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So like it ends up being kind of easier to go in and because I have to go in and put photos or something in at different spots. So then like, oh, I'll add this little sound effect because I'm gonna have to export it anyway. But to then re-export a video just to add like little things is like, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I can see that being a lot more work. I always listen. I like listening to the majority of the podcast, and it's like always on the App Store or like on Apple Podcasts or whatever.
Yep.
I got sick of all the big ones. It got kind of repetitive.
So they feel like they're unrelatable. After the first couple of times you listen to them, then you're like, yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are like way more. I think what I got bored of is I went through like however many 100 podcasts and picked and chose which ones I wanted to listen to, and like which people are like interesting to me, and then after that, like hearing monthly event news and stuff like that.
Yeah, having a recap of the Instagram clips for the month.
Yeah, that one gets me, and I feel like they got like way longer each time too, like over the duration of the last few years, and like I don't know.
That's fine if you have something interesting to say.
Yeah, well,
says the guy who's typically running 2 to 3 hour podcasts.
Well, so part of it is I probably had more time on my hands to the point where I could put it on my TV and like kind of listen to it while I was doing stuff around the house.
Okay.
But then, so when I'm listening to it on whatever Apple podcast, you don't see the videos of it. So like whatever half of the podcast, you're like really there just to listen to them.
Oh, especially
videos.
The Instagram stuff. Yeah, no, that I also am an audio podcast person on most cases.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, and like, I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts because of the like work I do. I get sent out alone a lot.
Yeah. What are you doing for work now?
Journeyman tile setter for a company called the Rug Shop. It's like a Bamton company, but yeah, they're a union tile setter.
Okay.
Have like tons of work, disgusting amount of work, and not enough people do it. I think that a lot of the companies are like kind of bailing out, or like I think it's a hard racket to be in, like hundreds of thousands of dollars, like that like you gamble with constantly, and a lot of people like tend to you like lose $250,000 like on one job. So hard pill to swallow, and like, you know.
Well, and I don't know how your contractors that you work for are, but in most cases they don't pay on time.
No, I don't.
Like you'll get paid by your employer, but like your employer may not get paid on time.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of like separates like the financial side of everything for the most part, like on purpose, because but through like the jobs and working with like the superintendents of the jobs, like the highest people up that we deal with, they like sometimes you get numbers and like when you hear like $250,000 and like you're only there for 2 weeks, you kind of start like, I understand why my boss doesn't share those numbers with me.
Yeah.
But
it's misleading.
I think that the pay is like generally like 6 months out, like after completion of job. So like, it's like a lot of money. That's a lot of capital to have to like be able to be in business.
Yep.
But I don't know.
So I don't know the exact statistic offhand, but I know that this is accurate. Like it's true that so there's a percentage, but I know the large percentage of companies that go out of business after they've been around for a handful of years, 10 years or so, is not that they run out of work, it's that they run out of cash.
Yeah.
And those are good examples where, you know, your payroll hits every week, every 2 weeks. Your accounts payable are all due to your vendors, and then you just sit on this job that you've been working on for 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're pretty like secure with work, and like financially we don't like hear too much about it, but we like definitely go through like we have like 30 or 40 employees, and like each one owns at a different job, completing like multiple jobs per week at least, and like and the guy that so I used to work for the same guy, different company, like 5 years ago, probably 2019, 2020, something like that. And I only worked for him briefly, but like, but he ran that company, like DNR Jones, I think. He ran that company for like 20 or 30 years, and then like I think that company like went under for like different side of their company, but I think the carpentry side kind of sank them. And I don't know, but so then he like started a new company, but or potentially convinced one of his like rich friends to invest.
Yeah, I mean, you never know how that stuff works out.
Yeah, I mean, but there's like tons of work for me. I don't know. I don't really ever see it like ending.
That's good.
This year, I'm like gonna try not to work as much on at like my full-time job. And, like, last year was pretty brutal. A lot of like 60-hour weeks and stuff. And it's not really for anything. So you don't really make that. You don't make any more money. Like, pretty sure for 20 hours of overtime, I'd bring home like $200 more in my check.
Okay.
So like, yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why exactly, but definitely wasn't worth it.
Yeah, well, something seems wrong there, but
yeah, I mean, I think that it like bumps you into a different tax bracket.
It can.
And like, I don't know. I remember them like the federal taxes. They would take like difference between like a few $100 to like $1,200 difference, and like, yeah. And then for me to all owe at the end of the year, I kind of owe like this year quite a bit. Not really into doing all that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not working out, it's not working out.
Yeah.
But no, that's good. So you're out this way quite a bit then, if it's Binghamton based, or like kind of hit or miss.
No, we like cover like 100. Well, I mean, we do out of state work, but Generally, I'm like within 40 miles from home.
Okay.
Once in a while, like I got sent up to like Penyan, which was like that was like an hour and a half drive or something for me. But
Yeah, that's like out 88, right?
yeah,
I think, or something like
yeah,
that.
like 14 or something.
Towards Utica. Or am I thinking of a different place?
No, I think you're thinking of somewhere else. That's like out, kind of between. I think it's before Canandaigua.
Oh yeah, no, I'm thinking totally wrong direction then.
Okay. It's like between like Waterloo and Canandaigua or something. Geneva and Canandaigua, somewhere over there. But that one was like a little bit brutal. But for the most part, I'm like 40-minute drive at least. But right now I'm working in town, which is awesome. First time in a year.
Yeah, that's great.
Commuting, saving like a ton on gas and stuff,
Yeah.
and a lot more energy.
Do you like when you get paid for that? Is it all 1099 work, or
Yeah,
are you a W-2 employee?
Yeah, W-2 employee.
That's awesome.
I upped my. I mean, part of it was I wasn't claiming anything. I was claiming zero.
Claiming zero should make you not owe anything.
That's what I would think, but I mean, I got screwed in a couple ways. I worked for 2 employers that didn't take any federal taxes. So
Okay,
like, that's
yeah,
part of
you
it.
got host.
That's part of like the amount I owe, but this year I like upped it to like claiming 2 or not, or getting whatever it is.
Yeah,
Taking like twice as much
yeah.
or something out of my check. So that
Yeah.
doesn't happen again.
Well, and you're W-2'd and they're withholding. Like, that's the challenge if you were 1099, is that you have to know to hold 30% back.
Yeah. So I had quite a little bit of experience with that kind of stuff. I was like 2013, 14. Like had a landscaping business, and that was like I did a couple properties, like maintain lawns for like a couple apartment buildings, and then that was all 1099 work. And I mean, I was working a full-time job and claiming my daughter at that point in time, so it all kind of evened out, and wasn't too bad. But yeah, gotta like make as much cash as I can, and not try to do a bunch of tile work on the side. But
Makes sense.
trying to ride and like free up time this year a little bit. I think that game is like gonna take up quite a bit of my time. Already is really.
It's so. Speaking of jams, just in general, like it could be absolutely nothing, like just throw a date out and it just happens, or it can be as much work as you let it be, and it's really easy for it to grow legs and just become its own monster too. Which is what I've done in the past with like the Pittsburgh Jam and the Binghamton Jam. Coordinating 2 jams 2 weeks apart with the same sponsor crew, like, and then because we were asking all like regional or smaller companies to sponsor, I would just get a ton of them so that I could divide up what they sent, and it wouldn't be like, oh, there's like not a lot here. But it ended up always being a ridiculous amount because we'd have like 30 or 40 sponsors on a flyer. And then you can't do anything with it.
Yeah. I'm like, so
you mentioned a jam. What jam, Alex?
the Lost Bowl Jam. It's gonna be held at I think like formerly known as the FBM Bowl. I think a lot of people know it as. But it's like up in Cornell on Ridgewood Road. The flyer will like have directions and like where to park and whatnot. But the spot like needs a bunch of love, and I'm gonna like give it my crisp working condition, and a couple like new features involved, like quarter pipe's gonna be there. Different like sub box, much longer sub box, the opposing side, like fix up everything quite a bit. Probably like go over the list of sponsors.
Do you have the flyer? Like if you send it to me or something, I can. You can make me edit this.
So.
Or do you want me to just link it to your Instagram or something when you have it out?
So Tommy and John are currently going next week. They're gonna shoot a photo that's gonna be like or two photos. One of like just the overall layout of it, and then I think John's gonna do something on courts. He's gonna like do something on the sub box, just to like fill up space on it. But currently, like the sponsors are GrindWorks, Rockies, No Worries Crew, Arch BMX, Alt, Eastern, Kink, Cinema, Shadow, Subrosa, Rant. That's like pretty much sent out like a couple dozen emails, and I didn't expect like everybody to get back to me and just say yes, and they sure did.
It's generally like that. Some of the larger companies will require the product to go through a bike shop, or for you to place for the bike shop to place an order with the company in order to get some stuff, which can be a burden on a shop if they're like the only shop sponsoring an event. But luckily, a lot of companies aren't doing that.
Yeah, I only ran into one distro like kind of doing that, and that's like kind of why Rockies is involved. And I like spoke with someone down at Rockies, and they were definitely interested, and like I'm hoping that they're gonna like set up like their little shop, their like mobile shop, like they did at that North Valley Jam.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I don't know. Whatever they want to do.
Rockies is awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rockies Bike Shop.
Shout out to Rockies Bike Shop and skate park.
And paintball and BMX track.
Yeah, BMX.
They're starting. I think they were starting racing in May. I think was the date.
Awesome. They put a lot of work into that.
Yeah.
It's a big undertaking.
Yes, it's also. I mean. They're saying it's not. Like, when you talk to Ben, he's like, no, it's the same length as every other track. It feels like the longest track I've ever ridden on.
I mean, I, like, pedaled around it. It was pretty muddy the day I was there, but...
It's 6 straights. It's long.
Yeah, no, it's pretty long. But, I don't know. I'm, like, so amazed by that place every time I go there. It's like the biggest and most fully stocked bike shop I've ever seen, really.
Yeah. Just out in Monroeton, PA.
Yeah. And it's a pretty dialed skate park. Like it's pretty, I don't know, it's kind of skate park I kind of grew up, learned how to ride BMX bikes at. Outdoor East Shore, sort of.
Yeah. So anything that's got that like all the same way but side by side ramp setup, I always just call it like early 2000s style parks.
Yeah.
And that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I wish like concrete parks were more geared towards that, like compared to the runway type skate parks that we're getting a lot.
I swear they're designed so that only one person can use it at a time, which is awful. Like, there's so many good older parks where it's not ridiculous for 4 or 5 people to be riding at the same time, and none of the lines even cross.
That's one of the concerns that has been in the back of my mind about this jam is like I've been thinking about like, well, it's kind of hard to ride there. Like you have to take turns to ride it. Like it's like a bowl or a pool or whatever you want to call it, but it's like not that multiple people can really be riding at the same time. I see a lot of like collisions. But I think that everybody will like it, or they won't. You know, just
It should be fine.
Thought about foot down in the middle of the pool too. Be fun.
It actually might be really good for that spot because you could get going wild around the top, but the way, like, I haven't ridden that spot ever actually.
Really?
But I know, like, if you start carving around the top, all of a sudden you hit a point where you have to cross.
Yeah.
So if you were playing foot down in the middle and trying to take the high lines and stuff, it could get wild.
It could. It could. I mean, it would be a good spot to do it. Definitely. I don't think you can stay up. I mean, maybe.
If it wasn't all mossy and like freshly cleaned, I'm sure you could ride around the top slowly.
Well, there's a coating of some sort of paint that's like, I don't think it would be epoxy, but it looks like epoxy paint on it underneath the moss. So like, pretty slick. But all the moss is gonna be gone, and I already like cleared it all out. Last year I got rid of all the moss. I like just sprayed it and like killed it all. But like last year I was riding pretty good, but I was pretty devastated when I saw it this year. Like multiple trees fell over into it, and like pretty. It was a lot of work.
An electric chainsaw, taking off a regular chainsaw.
Gas, 2-stroke. I don't know. It was funny because I was like pretty nervous about cutting it up, but there was like someone up on the road, like on top of the hill, like chopping up trees, like as I was doing it, so it sounded pretty
perfect.
normal. Yeah, but I like chopped it up into like 6-foot sections and realized that those were a little too big to be moving on your own. I had like a bunch of 6-foot sections of trees that were like just at the bottom of this slippery pool. But
trees weigh a lot more than you think they would.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, like my wife Tina, she was like helping out, and she like helped me get them out. But I could like move them halfway up the pool, and then she could like hold on to them to keep them up, and I could climb up to the top and drag them out.
That's good.
Yeah, we got through it. But yeah, no, I mean it'll be like pretty fun gig, and I guess this should be I don't know if this should, I mean we're in it now, so so the jam is July 19th, which is like kind of like a selfish date for me, but it's 2 years sober for me. So like,
well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So also just congratulations in general on that, without an anniversary or not, like.
Yeah, I mean that's like been a huge subject of my life. So
Yeah.
it's taken me down like some pretty like devastating roads, and like life's changed pretty dramatically since. So yeah,
That's good.
we can get into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we'll go through the jam stuff first.
Yeah.
So July 19th, starting at the pool and then presumably hanging out there all day unless it turns into a bust of some sort.
Yeah, I mean, I think people should plan on getting there like a little bit after like noon, or like right around noon. I think that probably like the contests and stuff should be like happening around like 3 or 4, and then funnel out by like 6 or 7. I mean, I tried to look up what time the sun sets on July 19th, but Siri wouldn't tell me. But
I'm sure that if we just Googled that, we would be able to get that info like straight up. We can just do that right now just to see. It feels like sometimes when you ask Siri things, there's no way to get it to understand what you're asking.
yeah, I mean she's helpful in some ways. But complex questions she's not very good at.
July 19th, 2025, sunset will be 8:35 p.m. is what it says.
Okay, well,
Why does that feels really Early. All right. Anyway, 8:35. Oh, I guess it's when it just starts to cross, not when it's dark.
Yeah. I mean, probably. I mean, I'll probably end up hanging out there, like, cleaning up and stuff. That's like, I don't like leaving trash there. I don't like leaving a mess. And, like, I clean up a lot of messes. College kids like party there like constantly. It's like in the center of like a bunch of fraternities and sororities. It's like their backyard that like surrounds this like ravine where the bowl is in, and they like just roll logs into it and set, like catch the thing on fire and leave a bunch of glass. So like every time you go there, it's like you spend like half an hour cleaning out the bottom.
It's absolutely entirely possible on a Saturday that you have to fully clean this thing out when you get there then.
So
I know July is not in class session. But.
Yeah, which like works out really good for parking and like that's like kind of, I was like, oh yeah, July 19th is like my 2-year date, and then like it's on a Saturday and the college kids won't be around, so like, you know, like, oh perfect. But, and the weather should be, knock on wood, but the weather should be pretty good. Imagine. And it's like nice and shady.
Just plan for good weather. Even like you can always cancel the morning of, but you can't uncancel. If you like the night before, you're like, oh, it's no good, and then it turns out fine.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really. Maybe I can like get your advice on that, but I mean. So like there's a couple spots that are like completely undercover in Ithaca that are like the bridge spot, which like with a little bit of more work, that spot could be like pretty suitable for like a fair amount of people.
Like a backup spot.
Yeah, or I mean there's like the architecture building, which is like practically a skate park. That is a skate park that Cornell made, but that place is pretty fun. And that's like covered. Doesn't get rain. But hopefully it just doesn't rain.
Yeah. I would plan for that. Depending on how the day goes and everything, when you have to move, like if you have to ride somewhere, that's fine. If you have to like get in cars and everyone relocate, you'll lose about half the crew.
Yeah.
Right there. And that's normal. But it feels disappointing too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a place. It's definitely on private property, but it's. And I like tried to look up the like tax code and stuff like that, and it's like addressed to a PO box pretty much, but that can't tell if it's like in town or not. But I mean, like fraternities have huge parties there every weekend, and I would imagine that will be the next jam should be fine.
Should be fine.
Yeah, on wood.
You can't worry about it.
No.
So.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything like other to know. You'll have all the info on a flyer.
Yeah.
So
the flyer is like taking me a little while. I'm like, Tommy like set me up with GIMP. I've like never used, but essentially the basic Photoshop.
okay.
I've been like doing that and going through a bunch of learning curves. I think I said everything in my notes, but for like the jam. But hopefully I can get the flyer like published by the time this comes out. I don't know how long these will take. You pretty much said this press.
Yeah, the upside of this is I can just hit upload right when we're done.
I'll probably say a bunch of stuff that I shouldn't have said. You'll have to edit it.
That's up to you.
No, I'm pretty alone what I say, I think.
I think there's only been like 2 that I've had to go edit something out of.
What do you have to edit out?
Well, one of one of them was the dude was in the middle of a lawsuit because he got hit by a car on his motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he said how fast he was going, and he's like, hey, that has to come out.
Well, now this has to come out, bro.
It's not in there anymore, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what the other one was. I think it was just a couple things got said, and it was like, I've had to edit before they go up, but those two were edited after they were released.
Oh. Well, normally I watch it. I probably heard it.
It was one of the first couple. It was Alex State. I think it was like 4 or 5.
I mean, I've watched like the large majority of them.
You're one of like the 20 faithful listeners.
Yeah.
I think I'd say 50, but
yeah, you normally.
I don't even know my own joke.
But
it's been a long
I'm
time.
one of them. I don't know. But I like it. Enjoyable to like listen to people you know.
That's where it's more relatable. Like, it's your own happenings. It's people you know. Sometimes like there's things that you're like, man, I hope they talk about this, and then I've thought about in the past, like when I knew that I was gonna have people on, that I could post like, hey, what questions do you want? And it's like, I don't like the just like, let me ask you a question and get an answer type interview or podcast. Like, it would be just as fun to not talk about you at all and talk about how much we enjoy, I don't know, like At Knees Forward or something. You know what I mean? Like, you could just talk about anything.
Yeah.
So, what's your opinion on At Knees Forward, Alex?
I mean, it was one of like the legendary videos of when I like started riding bikes, pretty much. So when I started taking like BMX more seriously, and Tommy said something about the Levi's video that kind of like got me thinking. I was like, oh, I forgot about that.
Levi's video was good, but yeah, it's kind of like this anomaly thing, like a thing that happened, but it's kind of like, this one is like one of my favorite videos though, but Facade as one is one of those videos that would be so easy to forget about because the company didn't exist for that long. And they had this awesome team for this little window of time.
Yeah.
But that's like my favorite Bruce Chrisman part. It's got an awesome Davey Watson part. Hoder's part is really good in it.
Hoder's part's always good.
And then who else had a main section in that? Seth Kimbrough.
He's still riding? Huh?
I don't know. Do you know that, like, I know things have gotten bad for me because my Instagram shows me less and less BMX, and like it just shows me like, hey, you'll like this joke about business and work, and I'm just like, oh, really, Instagram? You think so? You think I'd rather see that than BMX, huh?
I mean, I kind of like. I mean, I hate the algorithm right now. Like, I hate how it like listens to you, and because like my Instagram's the same way, but like you would think that Instagram would figure it out by like, well, I only like BMX videos, like, or BMX related stuff. So why wouldn't you push it to my feed? But it definitely like sends me all sorts of work stuff.
Yeah, it's weird.
Stuff that I don't enjoy. I think about working now. I go to work too much.
Dude, so I've talked a little bit on it on a couple past episodes, but not really talked about it. I've been planning on recording like a solo podcast, and I've rewritten it over and over and over, and my attitude in it has changed every time. So I'm kind of just like letting it sit for a few, but like I started my own, like GrindWorks has always been a thing, but I started a proper LLC last year for doing design work and everything, and just kind of wrapped GrindWorks stuff into it. I've had a couple big projects for that. Then I had my full-time job. Then in January got laid off from my full-time job and took another job. So like I've been learning a new job while still having these big contracts for my own side job. It can almost be a full-time job at this point.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you like doing it.
You know, I like riding bikes, and I like doing things with my family, and like it's even to the point though where I just don't have time. So I'm trying to get through a couple of the projects I have. I have one more big one that I've quoted right now that I think I'm getting. But I'd really like to be able to ride bikes for the summer, hang out, have some fun, record some podcasts.
Yeah.
Like,
isn't this your second one in like 2 days? Didn't I just see a post? I didn't. I want to.
No. Okay, so the one that I shared yesterday is because Harley's Pfizer's out of Greensburg, PA, passed away from cancer. So I just reshared an old episode that he was on. So that's all.
Oh, rest in peace.
Yeah, he was an awesome dude. I think as long as I knew him, so when I moved down there, he was kind of in and out of chemo treatments and struggling with that. So it's been a long fight for him. So
That stuff's rough.
Stayed positive the whole time.
Yeah.
At least outward.
Yeah, I mean that stuff's like incredibly rough. Full on. Not that it's the same, but at all. But like I'm doing my grandmother is like she's going through like knee surgeries and stuff like that, and like old like she's 83 years old. Not doing very well, and going from I'm dealing with it, or my dad really is, but like they're like we're all dealing with like the stage of like harder for you to be solo and like share this big old house, and where like 2 years ago she was like push mowing her lawn and stuff like that. And, that's like taking a toll on her. And,
it happens fast.
Yeah. I mean, definitely as I get older, like dealing with that kind of stuff more often, and I think being more like in the moment and like being able to like process what's actually happening, dealing with that stuff, it's like pretty tricky and like weird.
Yes, and I don't know how you typically handle this stuff, but like processing it at all, as opposed to, you know, when you're younger, and especially with some of your history, like to just run away and not process it at all is also a thing.
Yeah, I mean, definitely like with sobriety, like I came like being able to like process and not run away from all this stuff and like actually deal with it. I mean, we can like go, if we get into that whole thing, I can give you like a glimpse of like what getting out of rehab was like for me.
I mean, we can go back. We could start there. I mean, we more or less just kind of bantered a little bit right now, and then got into the jam a little bit, and then I started talking about myself instead.
Oh boy.
So funny thing, sidebar on that real quick. I've said for a long time that I would like to do one of these with someone else interviewing me, but I also feel like over every one of these episodes I've more or less told my story, just not in like a start to finish manner.
Yeah.
I feel like there's not a lot to gain from that. I don't
You
know.
wouldn't sell yourself short. I mean, I think that'd be awesome to have it and wrapped up into one, whatever, 6-hour podcast.
6. Yeah.
Exactly 6, not a minute over. But I mean, you got a lot. You have you've done a lot of stuff. You've been a lot of places.
I've done a lot of stuff with GrindWorks so we're gonna do it right now. I've done a lot of stuff with GrindWorks and known like all along that it should have been a proper business. And I never did anything more than like sole proprietor with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I always felt weird about any tax deductions because of like, at some level, yes, we took a trip, we produced an advertisement, we did stop at bike shops and promote GrindWorks, and we promoted GrindWorks to a bunch of people along the way, slapped stickers up all over the place. But to get a tax deduction for taking a BMX road trip with my friends just feels wrong. It feels a little bit like fraud, even though it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it took me a long time to want to do that. And then also, like, from 2013, when we started it, to 2014, I was living in Vestal, and we were just kind of like still super hobby, right? It was like a brand new idea. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Then I moved to Pittsburgh in an apartment on a 2-year contract. So I was like, not gonna start it down here. Like, that would be stupid.
Yeah.
I'll wait till this is all done and I get back. And then started, like, I got my contract renewed kind of indefinitely at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And we started house shopping down there, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to do it while I'm in an apartment if I'm going to move. So then we bought a house, and well, before that I had the ice house, and I'm like, man, I really should start it so that I have like proper business insurance and everything.
Yeah.
Never did. I mean, I had inventory. It was like a shop, but it was all just sole proprietor, and I never really did anything. I just did it as my name.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we got the house, I was just busy, so I'm like, okay, we'll get into it. And then COVID happened.
Yeah.
And like, I haven't been able to restock inventory since 2019. I just stopped advertising. Like, I still have some inventory.
Yeah.
For example, like, Mitch Curley just messaged me last week and was like, hey, can I get a set of pegs? And I'm like, yeah, like, no big deal. Easy. I just shipped them today, actually. So, but I got them. So, like, I after COVID, I was like, I don't really see the need to do this right at this moment. Just kind of see how things go. And then really after COVID, I'm working from home at that point, and Ryder was about to start school, and it's like, like, we need to be back home, basically. It doesn't make sense for me to be down here, and we're making every other weekend trips back up to Binghamton to see the family. And that's going to stop once he starts school. So, took a different job, moved up here. Like, oh, okay, well, good thing I didn't do it down there because I'm moving. And then we got to my parents' house, and it's like, well, I'm not going to do it while I'm at my parents' house before I buy a house.
I can't.
So, like, this is a long time of, I am not a say I'm going to do it and then don't do it person. So, like, it's bothered me all along the way. So, finally last year, like, we bought the house in 23, moved in at the end of 23. So, last year I started the LLC. But I did not start it as GrindWorks.
How's the material going?
What do you mean?
Can you get a new order or no?
So I just, like, right in December, since everything was official as the LLC now, I was like, cool, I really want to, like, re-up the inventory and do this for real. Not that we haven't been doing it for real. Like, we've been doing it for a long time, over 10 years now. But the last price I got before December, I think it was like $21 a piece to get the pegs made. And I'm like, unless we're selling these at like 25 to 30, there's no point. And I don't think the market will bear $25 to $30 a peg. But that's also not up to me. That's up to the consumer.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's me that gets stuck with a couple hundred pegs if that doesn't work. So I've balanced it and been like, I'd really like to, but not yet. So December, I got a quote, and they were 17 a piece. And I'm like, yes, take my money. Like, I'll do it. We'll go, 22 to 25, something like that a piece. And the machine shop came back to me and was like, yeah, that I can't do it for that. Like, I looked back at my math and I didn't include the material in that cost. I'm like, oh my god.
Is that pretty close to what they originally cost?
No, the very first batch of foundations that I got in 2013 were $9.50 a piece. Which then with our, we were doing the bagging and the toppers and everything for the packaging. Our all-in price was like $13. And then we were selling them to shops for $15 so that we could both sell at $20. But effectively, the shop's making more money than we were. Which is normal. We should be making money on the volume. They make money on the sale.
Yeah.
But the margin wasn't there for the shop, so they just kind of stopped carrying them in most cases. Unless we would do consignment. And I'm confident that, well, I had a good record at one point. But I kind of just gave up on the consignment piece because no one was mailing me money until I went to their shop and I was like, I don't see that you have pegs here.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, we owe you money. Like, yeah, you owed me money when you sold them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I could see that getting taken advantage of pretty quickly.
And then as the prices went up, the next batch was like $10.75 a piece, and then I think I was up to about $12.50 a piece on the last batch that I ordered. So my cost to package them was like $16, and I'm like, the market price is $20. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I stopped being able to do the like, oh, if you buy 3, I'll give you the 4th one for free type thing, because There's no money being made now.
Yeah.
I'm doing it because it facilitates doing cool things for the scene, and that was it.
Yeah. It's an excuse to do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, and it's always been a loss. Like,
Yeah.
if anyone thought money was being made, you were sorely mistaken.
Yeah, no, I kept track of all the t-shirts that I made like for last year, and like still pretty deep in the hole.
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, I think if I sold every single shirt that is in like the multiple boxes, then like I might be ahead. But you know, I got to make some cool shirts.
Yeah, sometimes it's just the fun process of it, right? And the real upside for me right now so I started the LLC for the design company, which is really nice because anything else I do in the other sphere, like podcasting, the game streaming stuff that I haven't really done that. I've streamed some 3D printing. That was neat.
It's a live feed?
Yeah, just a live feed of it 3D printing.
What were you printing?
What was I printing? Oh, prototype stem. Just so I could send the sample to. I don't know if they want it out there or not yet, that they're doing it, so I'm not going to say.
GrindWorks stem.
Not a GrindWorks stem.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was a long print. So I just left that on, let it go. That was fun. But, you know, I got a couple subscriptions on Twitch for that, and then you're like, oh, okay, so there's like a little bit here, but I don't know that it offsets like the cost of the equipment to do it. At least not at my capacity.
Twitch is like pretty, like you can do a lot with it pretty easily, right?
Yeah, I mean, so I started doing it so there was Mixer before that. That was a Microsoft brand. And Twitch was going, but I wasn't using Twitch. And you could just hit live stream from the Xbox when you were playing a game. So it was the easiest possible thing to do. Like, oh, start streaming. Okay. Then when I started doing the podcast in Pittsburgh, I bought the webcam and this webcam and was doing it through the computer, and then I'm like, well, heck, I could like stream for real now. I've just got the setup.
Yeah.
So I started doing that. I was doing it a lot when I had the house in Pittsburgh. Like a lot, meaning like making $50 a month or so. Like not great, but heck, it offsets something.
Yeah.
And if you're playing the games anyway, you may as well get paid for it.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But yeah, no, now it's like if I claim a loss, it's not like I'm just losing though. Like it's gonna offset revenue.
Yeah.
So I can do this stuff and not feel like it's weird.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff. I always think it's funny, like watching the YouTube. Just like see, I've looked at like the monetization, like what it actually takes to get it, and it's like pretty incredibly possible and impossible to like get to that level. Like they make it pretty hard, but I don't really ever see myself being in that position, but it's cool that like Twitch is like makes it a little bit easier to actually make some.
Yeah, it's like actually pretty low threshold to start making money on Twitch. It's like 3 consistent viewers, 50 followers. You're like,
YouTube wants like 40 or 4,000 public watch hours of your actual videos, or it's like some insane amount of short views. It's like 3 million shorts views in 90 days or something like that. Like looked at it. It's like pretty insane.
Yeah. Their discoverability is so good though.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Like Twitch's discoverability kind of sucks. They say it doesn't, but you just get kind of trapped into patterns. And then there's this like follow for follow, like for like thing. It's the same thing that happens on Instagram and every other platform.
Yeah.
But then where it shouldn't be, it's always a competition. Like, oh, you have my viewers. Like, not really. You know, you're not going to go to someone else's page and steal their viewers. Like, that's not going to happen. But you can enjoy their content and hang out over there, and every once in a while you might get a little bit extra from them, because you can do what they call a raid. It is when I'm done with a stream, I can go give my viewers to somebody else. So that's nice, and then other people do that, obviously. So if you know certain people, that's cool, but sometimes it's just a dead end. And you end up in the same circle of people.
Yeah, I could see how that could be like an endless revolving door. I'm gonna stop here, here, and here.
Yeah, well, there's no growth if you're only in the same 3 people's group all the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's tough. And then, like, people will start watching you. For example, they might watch because I'm 3D printing something. And I might have a whole bunch of people that like to watch that. And then if I get on to play a game, it'll be like,
yeah, everybody will retreat.
Yeah,
from
like
the 3D printing world, at least.
The metrics just nosedive. Oh, but then you get other people. So, like, if you build your entire platform off of one thing, you're trapped by it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what like mine is. Much straight BMX only, and it's almost only of me. Sometimes I post stuff with Casey, but I mean, I tend to like ride by myself quite a lot. Makes it hard to get.
I always enjoy your like self-filmed stuff. So you can tell that you've been out there quite a bit the last year or so, just by how much you post.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think I'm in this little trap of like I've talked about it with like a few of my friends, but like I get caught up in this little trap of like, well, I like enjoy pushing myself and like pushing myself. I can push myself really hard if I'm like filming, or if I like try to film something. So then I like get in this little circle of like every time that I go out, it's like this mission to like try and push myself and like learn something new, and like it's good in a progression sense, but it's not the most enjoyable. Like I definitely miss like days of like, I talk about Eastshore a lot because like they were like days of BMX that were like incredibly enjoyable for me, and I think that was like before cameras were so accessible for me, at least.
Yeah, phone cameras were still a little like, they were around and they worked, but they weren't great.
Yeah.
Like right now, I would say that phone cameras are great.
Actually, I think there's, yeah, I mean, we're talking iPhone 3 or 4. We're talking, because Tommy made a video of me, of him testing out his, it's like still like up on Vimeo or something.
Yeah.
But but I like saw that a while ago. But so yeah, cameras weren't like that good. At least our phone cameras.
Yeah.
Just getting that.
And I'm pretty sure most of our videos we were filming at East Shore. I think I was probably filming on my mini DV camera.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we could confirm that because I have it downstairs and I have all the tapes labeled by dates. I'm pretty confident it was that, and then at some point may have transitioned to GoPros.
Yeah. Yeah, that. I guess that would be about the right time. I don't even know what year East Shore stopped. Now, I think it was like 20.
It had to have been like 2012, maybe.
Oh yeah, it was 2012. Yeah, East Shore was gone before my daughter was alive.
So, when did it open though? I was trying to think of that before we got started, like 2008, 2009.
Probably like 2008, I would say, maybe 2007. No, like 2008.
I was gonna look up. There was that one edit that's I think either you or Spencer put out was the Three Cool Dudes edit.
Yeah.
And that was, it wasn't early in the East Shore days. It was almost midway. Because there was a lot of stuff that happened before that with who was the one dude that was there right at the beginning? Tyler
Tyler Smith.
Yeah. Because a lot happened there, and he was there for at least a year and a half before he moved away. And that edit I'm thinking of was maybe 2010.
That edit, I'm pretty sure that was.
We can find out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that edit was like after the second construction, like changing everything around.
Three Cool Dudes
15
edit.
years ago.
Alright, so yeah, 2010. Three Cool Dudes edit.
I mean, the step up's not there, so it can't be too late. Wow.
Yeah, no, this was the. It wasn't the original setup though, because this vert wall was there.
Oh yeah.
Or no, that was the original setup.
That is the original setup.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the original setup. Because that got turned into a spine, and then that little vert wall got pushed right
Yeah,
back.
that little spine ruined my elbow for years. I clipped my back tire on it, 3-ing it, and went like basically it was like a 180 to dead stop, and I fell backwards and smashed my elbow off the ground and chipped it.
Actually, go back. Can you go back 2 frames?
I will. So I went. I had a piece of my elbow that would move if I fully straightened my arm and lock my elbow. I couldn't bring it closed. I would have to go in and move it to be able to close my arm. Back 2 frames.
Pizza's here.
So I don't think that is. So didn't that used to be a bank to Jersey?
Thank you, Ryder.
Barrier thingy? It was like a bank to like a little bit of tranny to a wall.
Would this be second setup then?
It might be, yeah. That was like when I skateboarded.
This setup, there was a contest with this setup. I guess we'll find out because this wall over here was different, right? I should be sharing this, but audience, you can deal with it.
Go check out the cool dudes at it.
And maybe I'll link it.
East Shore Skate Park YouTube channel. still around.
There we go. That's what I wanted to see. So the bank to sub with this tight wall and the roller was still there. This is it's not the original because the wall ride wasn't there at the very beginning, right? That got put in after? Or was that one of the original features?
I'm pretty sure that was original. That would be pretty dangerous. Some giant box jumps.
I don't know.
Spencer with a tire grab, tail tap.
One-footed tail tap.
One-footed
to
tail
foot
tap.
jam.
To foot jam, yeah. I miss Spencer. I wish he'd come back. I think he's happy in Texas.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is like.
I mean, that's
original.
Yeah,
setup.
that's original because we lowered that like pretty early on because like only 5 people had the balls to face pick that.
It was so scary after it got lowered. Like the distance to height ratio wasn't right.
Yeah.
For pulling back into it, and it was like you'd go into flat every time because if you cleared the coping, you were landing real low on the quarter. Also, like a weird thing about this wall was it wasn't vertical; it was oververt, just slightly by like 1.5 degrees. So wall slaps on it were super weird, but fun.
Yeah. That's it, buzz.
All right, well, I guess we'll take a break. If we take a break, that means that I have to edit this because I have to splice multiple videos together.
Okay, and the flyer won't be ready for like at least a week and a half.
All right, well, we'll see how bad I suck at putting a podcast out. If it's ready, everyone's gonna know that I suck at editing podcasts and doing things in an efficient, timely manner. So, we're gonna take a break, and then we'll come back and I don't know, we can start the real podcast. Continue your thought.
Talking about
Vinyl.
I mean, that whole thing is like vinyls. It's way cheaper to buy different company vinyl, but it's way harder to use with that whole brand.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's like a little racket that they have going. If you buy all our stuff, then it's really easy to use. If you don't buy our stuff, then you can still use other people's stuff, but it's way harder.
Mm-hmm. I didn't buy Cricut and went with that US cutter simply because the Cricut brand early on definitely felt like something that middle-aged moms would buy.
Oh, definitely.
And I'm like, I need a little more functionality than middle-aged mom.
Yeah, I think that your like what you do for work and stuff makes a lot of like those programs a lot easier to figure out.
Yes.
Where I'm relearning how to use GIMP. I took a course in high school called Photoshop. I think I took 2 courses actually.
Yeah.
But don't remember a single thing about it. And I have to I don't know. I'm learning all that stuff.
It's also just totally different when you learn something to learn it as this is how it works, not when you're trying to do something.
Mm-hmm. That was a little experience that I learned. I went to 1 semester of Full Sail University for film, and I realized really quickly that I do not care to learn any of that. Like the BMX videos and even the videos that I ever plan on making in the future are so basic compared to what they're teaching you. Like they're teaching you how to make full productions, and like I'm sure there's useful stuff in all of that, but I don't think it's worth whatever $150,000 to and that's pretty obvious that I'm not. When I signed up for that, I had no intention of making money in that career path. I just wanted to learn.
Yeah.
And, that was a bad decision. But,
I mean, you could probably get like a general course certification on something like that.
Yeah.
And it would be like I don't know, maybe a little 12-week course that you pay $2,500 for or something, and be good to go with more info than you'll ever need.
Yeah, no. Learning about theory and stuff like that. Definitely more than I bargained for.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, just teach me how to hold a fisheye 3 feet away and learn how to deal with graphics and they use Premiere, which can't afford to have Premiere. Too expensive.
I just paid for mine.
Yeah.
It is. It's you used to be able to just own it though.
Yeah.
And now you have to have it on Creative Cloud, which if you just want Premiere and only Premiere, it's like, I don't know, maybe $50 a month, something like that.
Yeah. That's all I mind.
No, it's not, because the full Creative Cloud is $50-something a month.
Yeah. So
I just paid $700, $699 and some odd change for my 12-month.
And you get Photoshop and all that.
Get
stuff.
everything with it.
Yeah. So I can't. I mean, DaVinci is more than I'll ever be able to use, and I think that'll do everything that I'll ever want it to do.
You can get a lot of stuff through Steam as well with different programs like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, they taught you on that, and it was cool because while I was in school, they pay for it, and you get to use it all you want. And you make BMX videos on the side, you get to utilize all that. But
I'd really like to learn After Effects.
Yeah, After Effects is rough. It's it's not. I think it's all kind of self-explanatory, but unless you do it every day or get taught from start to finish how to do everything in it,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot to it. You can get lost.
It feels like the difference between using Photoshop and Illustrator, though, where they're similar, but if you're trying to do it this way over here, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. Illustrator, I have to relearn every time I use it.
Mm-hmm. GIMP is that's a process. I think I'm just talking about that because I'm going through it right now, but it's completely YouTube tutorials. How do you remove a background from a logo? This should be incredibly easy to do, but why is this taking me an hour to figure out how to take out a white background and make it transparent?
Mm-hmm. Well, I hate when you do that and you watch this video and they take 20 minutes to lead into the how-to, and it's something incredibly simple, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, and then half the time you figure it out a different way, and it's way easier than the 15-20 minute video on. Right. Yeah.
Sometimes you get a weird video because you searched it weird, though.
Yeah. I don't know. It's going though. We'll get it.
Good.
Get that all figured out.
Yeah, and then you'll have your little flyer. It's good to wait though because you have a bunch of sponsors on it. One mistake I've made in the past is releasing a flyer too early because you cannot control which flyer people share.
Yeah.
And it's inevitable the wrong one is going to get shared all over the place without a key sponsor that then gets upset that I don't know, someone else shared your flyer without them on it. And it's like, well, you were late to the game. I don't know what to tell you.
I thought it was. I don't think I should name names, but I thought it was pretty interesting. Like some of the bigger companies, they're like very, very strict on how you present their logo, stuff like that.
Yeah, they want to see the flyer with it on it before you can post it with their with their logo on it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that like general rule is not to change anybody's logo, but like you can only use this one if you on a picture, or you can only use this one as a secondary logo and stuff like that.
So I think one time I had an issue. Like after I start adding a bunch of companies, I either have to scale them down or reorganize them sometimes. And I've had companies come back at me like, you showed it to us here, and now it's over here, and we're not cool with that. And you're like, I don't know what to tell you.
Sorry. I mean,
like it's going to be all over the place, so I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
It's on there.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is wise for me to wait because of the fact that maybe the ones that are going to get back to me already did get back to me, but I'm sure that a couple more will funnel through. And like, I definitely sent a pretty formal like email out and like sent it to like every company I could pretty much think of.
Cool.
And like including like big companies like Red Bull and stuff like that.
Nice.
But no luck with them yet. That's still pending. I think you got to plan a lot earlier.
Possibly, and they're also gonna very likely want to see like all your event credentials and your permissions to be at your location. And
would they though? Because
I don't know.
Because Monster does the street jam.
I don't know.
That's Monster Cash Up Jams.
Yeah, they did. Red Bull is usually very good about getting everything cleared and making sure they're allowed to be where they are.
Yeah. But yeah, I could imagine them having like a big.
Yeah, because they'll probably put in a bunch of effort and people and everything and send out a couple trucks and want to make sure that they can park them there and stage up and like they're kind of a show.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they could be probably.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I even got a hold of Milwaukee.
Nice.
yeah, but I don't think that's happening. I got a hold of them like a month ago. I'm like, haven't heard back. Maybe they're coming. Maybe they're sending like a truckload of tools.
That'd be sweet.
It'd be awesome. I'll put it in a lot of videos. Good advertising.
Yeah, all the leaf blowers and.
Yeah. And electric chainsaw. You could use so much stuff.
You could do whole like sponsored Milwaukee videos for the cleanup process alone.
Yeah. I mean, I'm filming, so like, I don't want to like toot my own horn with that whole thing, or like, I don't want anybody to be expecting like some major production, but I have been like filming every step of the way, and like I'm dreading that. I'm sure you know that feeling of like having like terabyte of footage and like having to go through it, but like most of it's self-filmed, should be able to weed through it pretty quickly, but like still a lot of like there's, I mean, like last week I like, not that 11 hours for last week is a lot of work, but like if you're doing 11 hours per week and like of work and you're filming every step of it, like it's a lot of footage.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, especially if you don't have timestamps in it, or like even a notepad or something, and kind of record your time. Where like, hey, this interesting thing happened at like 3:30.
Dropped a log on my foot at 12 minutes 43 seconds.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you'd have like timestamp. I think you'd more have like the time you started the recording and a time that something happened.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be like, oh, okay, like, I gotta go roughly this far in.
Yeah. Yeah, no. But So I'm gonna probably put out like a couple videos, just fixing it up. Hopefully a couple sessions. I'm happy to invite you.
Maybe I'll come out and
For a
ride my
session,
bike.
not you don't have to. You don't have to
Maybe I'll come ride my bike.
Yeah.
I would like that.
Yeah, I mean you would love that place. It's like
Yeah,
fun.
it's always looked like a ton of fun. Like awkward, tight, and fun.
Awkward tight. I'm gonna fix some of the tightness, but the only problem is so like you have like the transition at the bottom, and then halfway up it starts to roll off. So
So it's all dead hops.
so yeah, but you can figure it out.
Yeah.
You can figure out it's consistent all the way throughout it, but that's like kind of the I've always wanted to do on like the big I don't know like where the two pockets are in the middle, make that like true quarters and just have like this giant curved tip, but that's a lot of money and a lot of time. And you start doing too much stuff and someone's gonna say something or
Yeah, well, and like you can do things that make it really fun like that, but then you kind of lose some of the authentic feeling of it too.
yeah. I mean, I feel I don't. I've been against sort of what I'm doing, but the original sub box that's there right now, it is like it is. It's 10 years past being rideable. Like your peg falls off. It's like a Everson. Maybe Everson's still good, but it's just like it's completely rounded over. It's cinder block that has been ice picked with metal pegs for
30 years,
yeah,
at
30.
least.
I should do a deep dive and find the first clip of it. Probably like it's definitely in the 90s, or
Yeah,
late 90s. Yeah,
definitely. It's been a spot for a long time.
it's like changed over the time. But so like I'm turning that one into that's gonna be the base of the quarter, essentially.
Okay.
But and then directly across from that one is going to be I don't know. I'm not originally. I was like planning on doing a 12-foot ledge, and I'm like the more I think about it, I'm like really it should be longer. Like I'd rather have it long because like then you could you could do a bunch of lines like manual and on top of it, and then dropping into the pocket. But longer ledge.
If you get pieces of angle iron, it comes in a 20-foot length.
It does. Yeah, 20 foot.
So, 20-foot ledge.
Cinder blocks go into 20 foot too. Made for it.
Made for it.
Yeah. No. But that's.
It's a lot of cinder blocks. It's a lot of effort.
Cinder blocks are pretty cheap, but concrete's not. I mean, concrete's pretty cheap in the grand scheme of things. But
Hand mixing it all up there is like.
yeah, it's not like you're getting a concrete truck.
How close can you get with your car if you brought a bunch of concrete?
50 yards. Pretty close.
Okay, so you could throw it on a cart of some sort and wheel it in
Yeah.
like really easily.
Yeah, I mean you can
You
see.
carry the bags at 50 yards, but
Yeah, I mean I plan on like moving things with wheelbarrows and
yeah.
be a lovely self-filmed event. Watch me carry 8-pound bags of cement through the woods.
Yay!
But it's no, you can like see both. You can see Highland Drive or whatever, which is the road on top, and then you can. If a car goes by, you can see the car go by from the pool, but only because there's no foliage right now.
You're right. By July, it's
Pretty good back there. Another reason I think we're fine.
so we on our flyer last year we did like a whole bunch of jams, and the one we had up in Buffalo at the Union Trails, they were a little bit like, please don't park in the cemetery that day. Like, park on the street and walk to the trails, because it's a little bit, like, they haven't had that many people there. And they didn't want it to be, like, a huge thing and a lot of people get noticed. When we got there, there were so many people parked around the cemetery, just everywhere. And just roaming hordes of people. Not there for the trails. There was a Pokemon Go event. And like a bunch of spots in the cemetery. And it's like, oh, well, I guess this doesn't even draw attention to us then. It's just there's a bunch of people playing Pokemon Go.
Worked out.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I've talked with this about like a couple other guys, but so there's a parking lot that back like 10 years ago we used to park at, but it like says all over it, no parking, violators will be towed by owner's expense, blah blah blah. But we used to park there, but I'm gonna like write on the flyer like a little map, like do not park in this parking lot, because I feel like that, like if everybody parked in there and like multiple tow trucks got called, then things could go south pretty quick. Like, it's suspicious. Why are there all these cars here? School's not even in session, kind of thing. But up the road, like less than a quarter of a mile, like pretty close. You could just park on the street and then drive down. But I think people are going to park wherever they want to park anyway.
Pretty much.
But pretty secluded. So it doesn't
I mean, put it right on the flyer, like, don't park here, you will be towed.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there's not any no parking signs in front of like the entrance to the pool. Like you can park on the road right there, but it doesn't say no parking, but definitely there's no meters out there.
Yeah.
But,
I don't know. So we were talking East Shore before we took a quick pause. That's like when we met, I think. We may have met each other once or twice at the Ithaca Park before that.
I bet you we crossed. I mean, so I used to go to ECT like a lot, like regularly.
Okay.
And HCS. Like I remember my parents would take me there.
Okay. So then we probably knew each other at some varying degrees.
I solely skateboarded back then.
Yeah.
But
I skated most of the time when I was at East Coast Terminal.
I don't know if you ever saw like how my style of skating, but like ECT was like so incredible to me. Like I went to Woodward and stuff for skating and like got to ride real ramps, like skate real ramps, box jumps, and I like always like kind of like the mixture of both like street and like park or like transition ride. Yeah. But like the box jump room was like heaven to me.
It had the rolled landings, which was great for jumping on a board.
Yeah, no, it was so much fun.
And then they just had that really nice vert wall at the end to come back and hit the next batch.
Yeah. I remember like, because I'm goofy, so I would have to like carve into it and then back.
Yeah, it was masonite. It was fine.
Yeah. It was fun. It was like, it was all masonite, so you'd like, when it didn't work out, you could slide around.
There was a kid on rollerblades there one time that tried dropping in on that vert wall in the back there and just like leaned forward and then kissed the ground at the bottom of the ramp. Like just didn't ride the transition out at all.
Wow. That's not good.
It's awful.
No,
He didn't leave though. He knocked his teeth out and he had blood all over, but he just kept skating.
People were built different back then.
I mean, he probably just kept skating because his parents weren't there to take him.
I mean, I mean, so like my family had like a minivan, and like there was like a crew of like 5 or 6 of us that would like cram in this minivan, and my parents would take us like sometimes they'd trade off different parents, but like one of our parents would take us to like ECT or like X Wheels or Extremes or.
I never went to either of those parks.
I mean, Extremes was like. I wish that I was old. I wish that I was more experienced when I got to, and I especially wish that I got to that I rode a BMX bike. But like, I could see that park being really fun on a bike.
That park looked incredible, especially the first one.
Yeah, that was an incredible skate park.
X Wheels looked really weird but cool.
Really big, fun. A little bit like sometimes you'd hit some holes. Like ECT vibes, but little bit. I don't know. I went up there a couple times. I enjoyed that park quite a bit. I enjoyed all those parks.
Have you been out to Wedgwood?
The
one in Youngstown?
No. That's the one with the drop ceiling in it, right? It was like
in parts.
Yeah, they took it out on top of the pyramid.
Like, no. That's the one that a lot of the Buffalo dudes go to all the time, right?
Yeah.
No, so Youngstown, Ohio is Wedgwood. It's I know John's taken some of the crew there.
Yeah. I went there with John like 2 years ago.
That park is cool. It's got that like early 2000s vibe.
Yeah.
Some of the ramps are built.
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah. So we went to I want to like make sure.
I think you guys went to like Raisin Changa or something, and
we went to Raisin Changa,
Wedgwood on the way back.
And
the wheel mill.
Yeah, the wheel mill. Yeah, because I got to ride the wheel mill before it closed. It was like a couple days before it was closing, and like then I was like, nah, I'm like I'm beat. So I like rode really hard all week, and I think that was right. I'm pretty sure that was right after I went to Swamp Fest, and I like came back.
Timing wise, sounds about right.
Yeah, I like came back and I was like, I don't know. It's kind of like once in a lifetime. Like I should just go because I can go and I can afford to go, and like. Even though I did just come back from like a 10-day Florida vacation thing, and like I'm pretty beat. But then I like went and did that, and then the last stop was like the wheel mill, and we got there, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna ride, and then I'm like walking around, and I'm like, I should ride.
You should ride.
I need to ride.
Like
it's the last opportunity I have to ride this place. I only got to ride it like once or twice before that ever. My brother lived down there, and
does he still, or did he move back or elsewhere?
He moved sort of back, like in the area.
So, funny thing is, Rachel is working at a bank down there, and she met your brother at the bank, and somehow, maybe it was still, I don't know if he still kept a New York license or something. But it was like, she knew that, like, it was your brother.
Yeah, I remember him telling me something about that. Him and I had, like, sort of a weird falling out, but we haven't really chatted in a long time. But he did move back up from like 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. And, I saw him once, I think. Pretty sure I saw him once.
Is he at Borg Warner?
He was.
I actually knew that because Rachel's stepdad worked, and her mom worked there.
I heard a rumor that he left or something. I don't want to
Yeah,
I don't want to speak on
fair,
his behalf. I don't really know, but I definitely heard that he moved on to something bigger or better or something.
Okay.
But I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure isn't Borg Warner like closing down 80% of their factory?
There's a lot of rumors happening, and then with the current tariff situation and some of the auto manufacturers laying off, it wouldn't surprise me. There were rumors before that they were going to be consolidating factories and everything. So,
well, they probably ought to just start making Tesla motors and stuff like that.
hey,
no,
nonsense.
Please don't. But
just keep making timing chains.
yeah. I mean, that place is like pretty incredible. I get to go on those like kind of bigger industrial, like that's all union work normally, like, or at least they hire huge companies to do stuff for them. But,
right, but then you get in there probably for like, oh, they want to renovate this whole bathroom setup, and you're like, oh, okay.
It's so terrible too. It's like we have like incredibly, or not. I guess their machines are a lot heavier than what I move, but like a pallet of tile and you have to like wheel it across their entire factory to the little tiny bathroom in the center of the factory. But we did like a bunch of what's that place in Painted Post? Siemens. Like that place. That place is pretty cool. Yeah, like
I'm sure.
They have cool machines.
Did they have to vet your background before they even let you in there to do the work?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like they're pretty sure, like I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to take photos and stuff in there. But they have like they make big like spindles that are like for sort of
all sorts of different stuff. Probably wind turbines at that location.
Yeah, I think it's like wind turbines. They're huge. They're 30, 40 foot long and they're like that big around.
Yep.
And they're like spinning on lathes.
Right. It's so what's funny about that is when you see that the size material spinning on a lathe, it's surprisingly slow, RPM wise, but the linear cut speed is pretty high.
Yeah. Yeah, no. They do like pretty cool stuff, but we did a bunch of bathrooms for them and it was like it's always interesting. I didn't think that anything like that was like going around here.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's Kennedy Valve in Elmira that does some pretty cool stuff.
I used to tile the old company I worked for. Like we used to do like all of Borg Warner stuff, but those are all like pretty small machines. And they're kind of just like staring at a machine, making sure the machine does what it's supposed to be doing, and I think it's all like pretty computerized and
yeah,
like they don't even handle things, just make sure you watch it. I'm sure that some dudes do, but that place you're like always looking up because there's like removing these like 20-ton steel whatever beams. I don't know what to call them, but it looked like the Tony Hawk hangar. What the building looks like.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
How'd we get there?
Whatever.
We were talking about East Shore, but then we went back to ECT.
Yeah. And then I don't know, these conversations just go off on tangents, but like the tangents are what's fun.
Yeah.
If I sat here and every time a tangent happened, it was like, no, but what about BMX? It would be a boring episode every time.
Stay on topic.
Just talk about bikes. Like, dude, we all know about bikes.
Yeah.
Some of the more interesting ones, I always feel like, are the ones that are not biking related or biking adjacent, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I that's part of the reason why I think I've been drawn to listening to more of the GrindWorks ones more
then I need to do
mainstream
more of them.
Yeah, you have to do more. But that's when I just go back.
Yeah, do you want to just start hosting?
No, maybe. I don't think I'd be the best host. I'll do one of Andy.
Okay. So bringing up Andy, I don't. You might not have even meant Roz, but bringing up Roz. So how's the union life?
Union's going strong. Best if anyone wants to sign up, I'm your guy. I'll get you right in. You make like a ton of money. It's not really what they say where it's a bunch of people watching one guy work. But it is in a lot of unions, but not what we do. But I will agree that there's like a lot of the waste and I don't want to like argue too much about that stuff. But there's like a disgusting amount of waste, and like that kind of screws with the market. But a lot of the waste that you see is like legitimate.
I can take the argument either way on this one, because does it screw with the market, or would the market race to the bottom without unions anyway? I mean, the part of the reason that fair wages exist is because of unions. But even, keeping wages fair is that if they weren't, everyone would just go join the union.
Mm-hmm.
Or unionize the shop. So they have to keep wages just fair enough that you're not incentivized to leave and go join the union or petition to unionize your shop.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that like our union anybody gets paid like too crazy of an amount. Like, I mean, the total package versus what like I actually bring home, that number is like dramatically different. And the total package is like I think the one that most people talk about, but like that's not what you bring home. That's not what your paycheck is ever. Like your total package is like health insurance, everything included. Your like pensions and retirements, which like most employers on the outside, especially in the construction industry, don't give you. Or like maybe they match they match 20% of what you put into your retirement.
Oh, not usually. They'll match up to 3%, but they're only going to match like half a percentage at a time. Mm-hmm. So you'd have to put 6% in to get a 3% match.
Yeah.
But that it's capped at like 3% in most cases.
Yeah. So like, I don't know, that whole like argument. I mean, you make like, I mean, for instance, like a tile setter, like it depends on which county or what region you're in. So like, generally, like the whole package is like $60 an hour or something close to that number. Like the bring home is less than half of that, or like it's right around. That's technically it's some counties it's like $35 an hour. Mm-hmm. It's like what my bring home would be, but then you have to pay like your international dues, which is an hourly rate taken right from the top, and that's like $5 an hour, or $4 an hour, and like then it's like not that great. Like
yeah,
I mean, then your bring home is $30 an hour. Which you could make at most construction companies, you could make that much. But the $30 that you never see an hour, like that adds up over time to however long you want to stay in it. But that's
your pension retirement fund.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good. And full health care not taken from your bring home pay is like involved in that.
That's really good once you get, into that.
Yeah, you have
cycle.
To be like vested or whatever. But that stuff's great. But I mean, I see like there's like a disgusting amount of waste from people doing things right, quote unquote. Like for instance, there's 80 sheets of plywood down on top of a concrete floor right now, and it's literally getting thrown in the dumpster. So like, technically that's right, to protect the floor from like all these pallet jacks and stuff, even though like, whatever. But like, 80 sheets of plywood is a lot of plywood to be literally thrown away, or like, I don't know, like our tile.
Well, but you can't store it either, or your storage would go insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is wasteful in that sense, because you could also sell it.
Yeah, but
or donate it to. Can you donate it to Habitat for Humanity or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, I'm pretty sure that that actual situation is going to be donated to me, but I've been talking with the dude about it, like, hey, call me when you're gonna throw it away. I'll just come and I'll pick it up for you.
Yeah.
Take it all apart and bring it with me.
Yeah.
And he's pretty cool with it. So. But
probably saves him a bunch of time and effort.
Yeah. I'm paying like whatever 4 guys, but for them to not have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like if they wanted to donate it or something like that, then they'd have to like pay someone, and it's to like whatever. Deal with that transaction and organize that entire transaction, and it's really worth it. Like, or you can just throw it in a dumpster that's already outside.
Yeah.
And you can pick it up. And it's already like, it's kind of beat up, but.
Yeah, it's not the best shape. And I get it on outdoor jobs, right? Like when it's all on the dirt and mud for a month or 2 months, and at the end of a job, like, yeah, we might see some life in that plywood, but for all intents and purposes, that plywood is trashed.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I mean, when I asked the superintendent about it, he like looked at me and he's like, it's garbage, and I was like, one side is, the side that's up's been walked on by like, whatever, 15 different trades for 5 months now, but so it's like one side of it's beat up, the other side's plenty good for a skate park though. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Like, it's like you could go get a piece of John's ramp probably and be like, no, like this is garbage.
John's ramp's great.
It's not.
We're gonna. I mean, there's a lot of big plans, and I think we're gonna be like moving in the right. Like, I think we're gonna be putting some work into it. I definitely wanted, or like definitely suggested to like spend some like a certain amount of time. Like I'll invest like whatever, I don't know, 24 hours, like 3 days straight into like 8 to 5, whatever. So,
I don't know if it's still on here or not. It comes on and off of Craigslist periodically, but there's a pallet shop nearby here that gives away pallets of 3/4 inch plywood, 4 foot by 4 foot. Not like every week they have pallet loads. And it's just slightly shy of 4 foot, because whatever they're making, I think, is exactly 4 feet.
I had a connection that was pretty solid, with like, because I had some plans to make stuff with pallets, so I kind of like ventured off and like looked for like 8 foot by 4 foot pallets, and like eventually I found this like company that does like cubicles and stuff like that, but their pallets are sheathed with like 11/16 OSB or something like that.
4 foot by 4 foot plywood, free, first come, first serve. This is the place. It's literally
a roof rack.
Pallet loads. They want you to take all of it. Go run a U-Haul.
Yeah. I mean, that's what 80 sheets is. 80 sheets is like 2 pallets worth of plywood.
But seriously,
I'll
leave this up and I'll send it to you.
Is it real plywood or is
some of it? It's a mix of some of the like compressed board and other is truly plywood.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing with like the 80 sheets of wood. It's not plywood, it's OSB, but it's 3/4 inch.
So this has it's usually plywood, and some OSB and some like fiberboard. That's just total trash.
Yeah, like some MDF or something.
It's fine indoors if you're building something.
Yeah, that's like the only. That's the thing.
Or under a bridge.
Yeah, under a bridge would be. Bridge spot. That's next
Your
year's
giant bank ledge thing.
Yeah.
Just get a pallet of free wood.
Yeah. I mean, it's a plan. Someday.
Even if you were being really crafty, you could build all your support structure out of that stuff too.
You could, but my dumpsters at work are pretty full normally.
Mm-hmm.
Like full 2x4s and stuff.
Yeah, all the stuff that's trash to most people.
Yeah, like foreign boards. Oh, it's fine. Stuff's fine. A little concrete. You can grind it off anyway.
Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, some of the tile stuff that I like that's waste that like literally goes in the dumpster. That stuff like kind of drives me nuts. There's like so much money that's like thrown out. But you do these jobs where like for a normal job you like order 5 to 15% extra for waste. But then you do these jobs that are like 15,000 square feet. 10% is a lot.
Yeah.
Like 10% is enough to tile your entire house. Like a lot of waste.
Right.
And like sometimes you will have that waste left over, but it's hard to account for that. To know exactly how many.
No, but at some point, usually that like the safety margin gets buffered based on scale too. Like, hey, on a job this size, we're not going to go 10% over. We're going to go like 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's still going to be a lot.
Hopefully. But that whole situation is kind of hard. I mean, it's pretty hard to deal with. Just like unless you're doing it all off prints. So like you can normally take into account like well there's 50 doorways in this hallway, so there's going to be an abnormally larger amount of waste. You have to make a bunch more cuts.
Mm-hmm.
But or sometimes you just like one time we had a manufacturer give us 2 pallets of tile, and like it was all defective, and then how they like remedied the situation is they just sent 2 new pallets, and then we were like, well, what do you want to do with these pallets? And they're just like, throw them away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
It's all defective, and you have a dumpster there. Why would we ship them?
That's a different. It was like a different size by like 30 seconds maybe. It was like a lot in the tile world, but like for like anybody's house, like as long as you weren't matching anything, it's fine. But
yeah.
We were matching stuff, so it had to be the right size.
But to go do a bathroom at a house is like, man, I can do like 7 out of that pallet probably.
Yeah, no, a pallet's a lot of tile. Anyhow.
Yeah, cool.
That's tile world.
So we're gonna title this podcast "Union Recruitment" with Alex Capalongo.
Union Recruitment. Pretty great. I even told Roz about. I was like, yeah, we're just gonna talk about union stuff the entire time.
I recall because of his episode, and he's so anti-union.
He is. I mean, I think that his views on unions they go both ways sometimes. I mean, as far as the work goes, like they're not much different, union or non-union companies. When you start getting into really, really big companies, like I shouldn't really name names, but like there's some like 3 or 4 companies that run all of New York State, like, and they're just massive. But like those companies, a lot of employees start taking advantage of the mass of the company. Well, there's no one regulating it.
Yes, and then you also have different unions in the same workspace, which is where you start to see a lot of the waste come in too. So, like, for example, I've seen where there will be a pallet of parts for the job that we're here to do on the other side of this door right here. And the entire team won't start because they haven't been delivered to the job site yet by a material handler union.
Yeah.
And they'll wait 6-8 hours for that guy for someone from the materials handlers union to come by and bring that through the doorway so that they can start. But it's like their parts are literally here. They are at the job site, but it's like, no, it's a different room. And I'm good night, buddy.
What is the show Mommy watches in the summer?
I have no idea what you're talking about. So, like, I'm
reality show.
Big Brother.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know that they won't do that until they're delivered, but I'm very confident that that stems from someone probably had a union grievance filed on them for grabbing parts and moving them and just getting the job done. And then instead of just being reasonable, like, now that guy had to go do a union hearing. The guy that was moving the parts had to go to a union hearing. And then he probably got docked pay and lost work hours over that union grievance hearing for moving parts that guy now got paid extra for and lost work, like missed work, got paid extra because of a union grievance that they won. And then I think the union leaders like that stuff, the organizers, because it just keeps them in a job.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's definitely there's a lot of stuff that goes on, like, behind the scenes to, like, that dictates, like, how that stuff all works and, like, the order of operations that like, all takes. I'm, like, pretty grateful that I don't get to see that. I think that, like, happens more in, like, machine shops and, like big...
That was nuclear power. It's at plants where you've got, you might have 10,000 people.
Yeah. Yeah,
and there's a handful of unions working together.
You probably allot, like, a disgusting amount, like an unfathomable amount of money for that. Like, you put that money aside every year. 15 employees are going to go waste this many hours doing all of this paid. But, I mean, when you start doing that kind of stuff, like, is there revenue involved? Or is it...
Well, there's union lawyers that are doing those grievance hearings and everything. So someone's making money along the way.
But is, like, the nuclear power plant, is that generating an incredible amount of revenue, or is it being, like, is that, like, government funded stuff?
Most of the nuclear is not that well subsidized. It does get a lot, so I don't want to be wrong. And, like, there was a lot of political games surrounding it a handful of years ago where they were threatening to close plants unless the subsidies came in. They do generate quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
But a good, like, if you want to know what that is, they say it's generally about $1 million a day loss if you're down. So But that's revenue, or that's like employee salaries and everything included in those losses.
Yeah.
And with as many people on site as they have at any given point in time, like an extra day down when you're in an outage, it makes sense why it would cost that much.
Yeah.
But it's also like that was kind of the advantage when you're working in that space. If someone calls you up and the plant is down and they're like, hey, we need this part like right now, you can charge them whatever you want because it costs them less than $1 million a day.
Yeah. As long as you're $999,000.
No, but it's not ridiculous to hear like a $5,000 or $10,000 expediting fee for something that's simple.
Yeah.
It's also not ridiculous. Well, it feels ridiculous, but it's not ridiculous to get a call at 2 a.m. on a Saturday from a customer that expects you on the phone right now, and they're gonna send you a purchase order in the next hour and a half if you can tell them it'll be there Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah. But I mean, big machine shops like that, they run 24/7, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how like Siemens was. That
Yeah, they're
24/7.
3 shifts usually.
Yeah. They tried to make us do some of that at night. Don't like working at night. Don't like that. Second or third shift.
There should be a shift differential associated with it, but
Not for me.
yeah.
I mean, there's like a unsaid rule that like you do like 7.5 for 8, so you get like essentially get paid for your lunch or something like that, or you go home at half an hour early. Half an hour is nothing.
Yeah, no. Usually there's like a fair shift differential for second or third shift.
There's
But when it's normal, like
other unions, like the painters union, they get like $3 an hour different. Like, I don't think that's enough. Frankly, like,
so
if there's no other work, I'll do it. But like,
yeah.
If you were gonna ask me to like go to work during the day for $30 an hour, bring home, or $33 an hour, bring home at night, don't go to work during the day.
Yeah. I feel like maybe not long term, but like in a short term capacity, second shift is the worst shift. Like first is the best. Third is second best in my opinion. Obviously it messes with your sleep schedule, something awful.
Yeah.
And it's not good for you long term.
Oh.
But second shift would take every waking moment of my day that I enjoy, and I wouldn't be there for it.
Yeah.
And I'm not a morning person that much, so like if I didn't have to be up for work, I probably wouldn't wake up until late and not have anything, like I wouldn't have any time to get anything done, and then I'd go to work. And everything that I want to do happens like after 4:30.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, second shift is definitely, I don't know. Second and third are both equally like as terrible to me because I've worked both of them, but we do second shift at where I work sometimes. So like I try as hard as I can not to, but like 3:30 to 11, which like if you're really motivated, you could do that and like it wouldn't affect you that bad, but you would have to like go right home and then go to sleep and then wake up at like 7 or 8 and then
for it to be productive. But
in reality I get home at midnight or like 12:30 and then I sleep until like 9 and then I'm tired from this change, like imbalance in me. So like my sleep schedule's all different. So then pretty much the whole next day is shot. Like, like that whatever 7-8 hours that I have in between going to work again, and I wake up, can't get anything. Take the dog out maybe.
Yeah, and then it's on repeat.
Yeah, and mine are for like short periods of time, so I never, my like body doesn't transition to like, oh well, this is how it works. I'm like getting used to it. So.
I still think if you were transitioned to that, I don't feel like anyone can just get out of work and go straight home and go to bed. There's like a whole wind down period. You get chilled out, then you get, maybe you want to watch some TV for an hour. Like, you're gonna end up not going to bed till 2 or 3, if that was normal for you. And then you're still gonna wake up at 9 or 10. Like, it's just not gonna be productive.
It's like, no. There's like, there's probably a dollar amount that it would be worth it for me, but it's much higher. Like, I'm not gonna. $3 an hour, I ain't doing it if I don't have to.
Yeah.
I'll take the $3 an hour if I have to do it. I don't like doing it. But especially they can just pay me time and a half and double time on Saturday and Sunday.
Yep.
During the day.
The double time is sweet.
Double time is sweet. I think holidays. See, we don't get like all the bank holidays.
Yeah.
Like we don't get double time for any of that stuff. But
No,
we
like
get double
the real
time
holidays.
for only Christmas and Thanksgiving. I think. Pretty sure are the only ones that we actually have. They have to pay us extra for. But I'm pretty sure it's triple time. But I don't think anybody's paying triple time.
No,
for
no, they're finding every reason not to.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure the last time I saw you skateboard as like your main thing, you ollied off the bathroom at East Shore.
Probably.
And then picked up a bike and rode ever since.
Yeah. So like the transition was so I like me and Spencer were like best friends like growing up, and he always rode bikes, I skateboarded, and I'd like toy around on his bike, and like I could do like tire grabs and tuck my handers fly out and stuff like that. And I eventually, like when East Shore opened, I saved up, like I literally stacked rocks for my dad, who's like a lifelong mason, and we have this like creek that dishes out flat rocks for like flagstone and stuff like that. So I literally stacked rocks for like an FBM Marauder complete bike. And then that was probably like the beginning of whatever summer of 08 or whatever. And I was like riding a little bit, like East Shore open, and then Homegrown had like a skate contest of some sort up there, and I like completely like so I like skated in this jam, and then like I forget like how it all came about, but like it was either Andrew, the owner of Homegrown, or the guy who was filming it, like offered me $100 to Melon 360, the second box jump at East Shore. I could like jump the box jumps, like, easy, and like at ECT, I've like Melon 360, some of those a little, but those are small. But I did like a few of them, so I was like, yeah, I'll give it a couple shots. So I tried it like 100 times, and then eventually like slipped my like back foot and like kind of put my ankle. I like essentially I sat down on my foot with encased the landing and like just like snapped my foot.
Yeah.
And that's my pushing foot, and like it like affected me being able to skate. So like I healed up from that. Like tried to skate, couldn't skate. Like I couldn't push very well. It like hurt. I could skate for like an hour and then I couldn't walk.
Okay.
And then so like I essentially like forced into picking bikes. And I was pretty grateful that I was like that it all worked out and I had a bike.
Yeah.
And like it's like, oh, I can just do this. I like this.
Yeah, I also enjoy doing this, so I guess that's fine.
Yeah, no, this is perfect. But I mean, last summer I skated quite a bit, and like just messing around, like maybe for like an hour or two sometimes. But no, that doesn't hurt as bad anymore. I think like all that scar tissue and like muscle is back. I broke like 3 or 4 metatarsal. I don't know which is which.
Metatarsals are the ones up further, about
Yeah.
midway up the foot.
Yeah, I broke like 4 of those. Across. Just folded my. Yeah, it was a good time. It wasn't really that bad. I remember I had a brand new Nike Dunk Highs. They were like some like limited edition things, but they were like $140 shoes, and they were brand new that night. And the whatever, I got to the ER and they just cut it off. I was like,
Awesome.
thanks.
I mean, there was probably no way they were pulling that high top off your foot without it
I mean,
being miserable.
so I did. I don't know what I was wearing. Pretty sure I was wearing like skate highs or something. I broke my foot, like broken my feet a lot, but I broke my foot in Canandaigua. Drove to Cuba Medical Center in Ithaca, and took off my shoe before going in the ER because I didn't want them to cut my shoe in half.
Yeah.
But I guess you live and learn, I guess.
I also feel like they always treat us like we're normal.
Yeah.
Like, oh gosh, we're gonna have to cut this, and you're like, no, you can wiggle that thing off.
Yeah.
I'll wince a little, but it's fine.
But the only thing I don't like is I don't like watching stitches or stitches on like your appendages, like on your fingers. I got like 7 or 8 stitches on my like this is stupid. I like was just pedaling down the sidewalk and I like clipped a sign, a road sign, with like the thin sheet metal with my pinky like, on my handlebar.
Ooh.
And then like get to the skate park and I'm like, man, I got throttle grip like a mofo. I look down, my entire body's covered in blood. I must have lost like a couple pints of blood. Like my entire right side of my body was from dripping off my hand. And I'm like, oh, whoops. I'm like, you can see like the joint in my pinky, and then I like go to the ER and I like, I don't like that. They like peeled it back and like put the local in it to like stitch it up, and like my pinky went from like normal size to like that big, and I was just like, boo, I don't like that. Never doing that again. I'll just super glue it shut. Like,
or just like, you do that, but I'm gonna look over here.
You know, well, I know I like looking at whatever they're doing. I'm good with pain, but only if I can watch. But not that. But I've like cut myself since then, like equally as bad, and I like super glue and like electrical tape as like tight as I can get it. Like don't care how it feels. I don't like that. Unless my finger's like gonna come off.
Yeah.
Get stitches.
That's fair.
But, yeah. So. And yeah, roughly like 08, I probably started riding due to my broken foot. I was like pretty grateful that I like the environment that I got to learn how to ride BMX bikes in was like very progressive, and like East Shore was like pretty big ramps.
Yeah.
For the most part. Bigger for around here.
Yeah, and it was a fun layout, and like the upside for East Shore wasn't that the park was great. It was just like you could go there and it might be busy or it might be dead empty and you're like the only person there, but you could still have a good time. It was always a good time. Even if it was only one or two other people, like just the vibes were always good there. And I know that like you, Spencer, Tommy, Roz were always, around at varying capacities. Shane was around quite a bit.
Shane moved to Florida.
Interesting.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off.
No, I didn't know that.
I didn't either. He designed this logo actually.
Sweet.
But
We'll get to that. I know what that logo is. Well, we'll say it now, because then if people are interested, hit Alex up for Almost Good.
yeah, almost good.
It's just apparel, right? Apparel and some video stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's just like I don't know, it's kind of a joke. It started with a joke and it's like rang true for like a lot of stuff. And then like it holds a lot of meaning to like my life. Not my life. My life is like incredibly good, but at least now. Definitely got put through the ringer. But
Should just get one of them that you cross the A out with an I.
yeah. But that'll be Instagram.
Yeah.
IG.
Yeah, that's true. Never mind. Don't do that. Yeah, so anyway, it was like always just a good time there. So it didn't matter. Like some of the changes to the park did not make it better.
Oh.
But it didn't really matter because like your friends were definitely going to be there.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of like the things that like indoor parks struggle with is like definitely like trying to reuse material long after its like life expectancy. Like you might be able to get like one build out of material, like one rearrangement of goods, but when you start reusing things and like bending things the opposite way multiple times, like stuff gets squishy fast, and like I think that was like a downfall. I think that some of the layouts were. I honestly think that the layout that we were looking at was the best. I like that layout the most.
That layout was really fun. When it was cut down and turned into a spine was also fun. But it was like right after that the weird hip with the wall ride went in on the wall. And then the pyramid got pulled back and turned into a deck. And that setup was weird. Like we all had a lot of fun on it, but it was weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think that. I mean, I really enjoyed it because every time that it would get rearranged or like a new setup would be made, and then it was while I was still like developing my riding skill set, like kind of like geared from more park ratty kind of riding, which was good for me, and like kind of like shaped my riding. But like as it went on, like geared towards or attempted to gear towards like street riding, but it did fall short of that. Like just it wasn't too flat. It was a two stair with a really long skate park rail on it.
Yeah, but it's still like at least it was a start.
Yeah.
And it gets you thinking that way.
Yeah.
But then also like you guys were doing a lot of the rebuilds and layouts, so.
Oh yeah.
So then you start to progress one direction, and then you're like, okay, well, let's change it again and make it different.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I wish that I got to ride the original the original layout with like how I can ride now. Like it would be way more fun. Because like there's like 1,000 transfers and like you could, that's like what it was all about. That's what I liked about the park is like there was like a million little like transfers that you could do, or you could do really big transfers. It's like for like every age of riding, or like skating.
Yep.
You're like playing with box jumps on a skateboard.
Yeah. And then trying to just think like a little bit of history of East Shore was the couple parking lot jams. And then like what happened, there was that period of time where it was almost like Tommy was trying to buy it or take it over from Ben and see if that could work?
Yeah, I think that there was definitely a period where like I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Tommy, but I believe that Shane and Tommy were gonna gear up together and take it over. But I think that the financial side of it wasn't all there. Like I mean,
It's a skate park.
yeah, I mean, it's a skate park. I mean, I wish that like I'm pretty sure it was really close though. I'm pretty sure that like some like it, and definitely in the winter it like made money.
Yeah, sure.
But I don't think that it offset the loss in the summer. And then I think that the loss in the summer depended on how hard you push skate camp. So sometimes they got together with like the local youth bureau and like skate camp. Like I used to teach skate camp there.
Yeah.
Like and like the years that I taught skate camp, there was like probably like 150 kids in total over like all of summer. But like that offset, or that paid rent, I think. But I never really saw the books. But I know that like there was definitely years that did and definitely years that didn't break even.
Yeah.
And then hard to and then there's no payroll. There's not much payroll that was like actually getting paid to people. Like I think that Tommy was making a like very small and insignificant like very like less than minimum wage, which was like $7.50 back then. Like I'm pretty sure he was making like $2 an hour, like $200 a week.
Well, so even let's say it was making money when Ben owned it and was running it as just Ben. That doesn't mean that if you come in with two people trying to take it over, that it's sustainable, because you have to figure, can two people make a living running this business together at that point?
Yeah.
And I'm going to venture to say that the answer would have been no.
No, I mean, I definitely don't think that Shane and Tommy were really, I'm pretty positive Shane was. But I don't think that either of them would have been trying to make a dime. I think
no, but you have to sustain.
Yeah, you have to like I wish that I was in the position that I am now, like when that all happened, because like right now it wouldn't be the end of the world if you like lost $500 a month or $1,000 a month. Like I'd be willing to pay that to have that for the community.
Yeah,
Like that'd be incredible. Like same thing with the ice house. Like,
Well, the ice house, we were fortunate to have, that was a steal. For what that was worth, I think our rent was $650.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like East Shore was probably the same per square foot. Is what you were like. It was East
low
Shore,
for the square
East
footage.
Shore was incredibly cheap, but Ben put like Ben put the entire front room, the shop. So like that was block walls. So he dumped a ton into electrical and insulating, framing, sheetrocking, that whole like area. And I think the like equity that he gave the landlord was like compensated or like given back to him by keeping rent low. and then Ben also put the bathrooms in, which like pretty hefty. And then he definitely did some. Oh, I'm pretty sure Ben put the heat in too.
Yeah, well, and then they had to get the rafters adapted to those like low profile rafters.
Yeah. We but that's like great when I first started coming in and helping out. I remember seeing Tyler up there like banging one. He's a wild man. He's funny. Like dangling from rafters. Like no ladder, no nothing. Like just like up there climbing around with a pass load. He rides mountain bikes now. He's like still riding every day there.
That's awesome.
I don't know where he moved. I think he moved to California.
I know he moved to California when East Shore was still open. Whether he's still there or not, who knows? Okay, so yeah, that was going on, and like that was at the same time that every time you'd show up there, Tommy'd be like, "No, you can just ride," and like, "No, I can't. Please don't do that."
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I was a part of that, being in charge of collecting money from
it's
people.
tough when it's your friends too, and like,
And like, I mean, I'll speak for myself. Like, I was a shithead. Like, I was like, nah, man. Like, you can ride for free, and like, and Ben definitely allowed it. Like, there was definitely times where like Ben would tell people that they could ride for free, and then like, well, like if you see Ben do it, whatever 3 weeks ago, like, does that mean that guy can always ride for free? Like, is it kind of, I don't know.
So this is maybe I try to hold a different standard for this, but like I always look at it like, okay, I really appreciate the gesture, but like I don't need that right now, and there might be a day that I need that, but it's not today.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess looking back at that kind
but
of stuff.
But like a lot of us did need it back then at the same time.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, I think it's safe to say that I mean, at least you and I would never go to a skate park without the $15 of expecting to hand the skate park.
No.
Like, I want to drive 2 hours to a skate park just to sit in the parking lot and not ride.
Right.
So, like ECT, like sweeping the floor. Like, I remember people could
sweep yeah, but no one actually swept. They just went and hung out with a broom for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I remember that. But, yeah, no, I mean, it definitely was not like the great, or like, I'll speak for myself on that. I definitely let more people in for free than I ever should have, and I like didn't treat it as like a business. I treated that place like my like little like personal space, because it was like this environment.
It was a clubhouse.
Our friends, all of my friends, were at, and like it was awesome. I mean, me and Andy, like me and Roz would like spend like weekends out there, because he like lived in Syracuse, and he would like come down for the weekend, and he would just like crash on the couch. But like sometimes it'd get like so cold that we'd make like these little cardboard forts and put some space heaters in. And we did that like every weekend, like through like January, February, and like lots of people slept there, like just like crashed there over the weekend.
Yeah, it's just like it was a clubhouse. Like it was awesome.
There's some funny stuff there.
But
then we got a fire pit, and that really myself.
So with you guys being so young at the time too, like I kind of understand why you wouldn't have the insight into the financials, and like the idea of just letting people in is like, oh well, they're cool, so it's fine. But you almost wish that you had seen the financials and that known what that really meant to let someone in. Like I'm sure it was probably based on how the prior week was, how many people Ben was letting in. Like Like if you had a good week and then someone came up, then it's like, oh man, like cool, you're here all the time. We had a good week, we're good. Not like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, so there was definitely like there was days when there was like 50 people there, and like if Ben was there to take all first 40 admissions, the last 10 people, if Ben knew him, like there's probably a good chance that he let him in for free, because like he's like that's like
we're covered, we're good.
Yeah, we're good for the day, or like the next 3 days. It's like overhead wasn't that absurd, so like. The margin to make per day was like pretty small if you like averaged it out, but you generally made it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely like look back at it and like if I had the chance to do things differently, or like would the place still be around?
Yeah,
like,
it probably could have worked if that wasn't happening, but like
eventually rent would have went up like to like a reasonable amount. I'm pretty sure rent was less than $2,500.
So fast forward a handful of years, and after East Shore closed, there was another like Ithaca skate co-op that tried to go back into that building, and they built like a mini ramp and some stuff in there.
Yeah.
Like, what happened with that? Because it didn't last long.
I'm not entirely sure. So that's like this guy named Dan. He's a pretty interesting guy. He's definitely for the greater good of like the community. But yeah. So I'm pretty. I don't want to speak too much on his behalf, but like I'm pretty sure like he just couldn't afford it. And then because I remember that there was multiple times where he had to move all the ramps. At one point, all the ramps were underneath the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, he's doing something in Enfield with the co-op, I think. And he's like he got approval and a lot of land from Enfield town.
I think John was talking about that one day.
Yeah, and like right now, if you drive by, there's like a little 4-foot mini that's. I don't even think it's a mini. I think it's a quarter on one side, tranny bank with a quarter in the middle, kind of like those Coma or whatever.
Interesting.
Yeah, but it's all concrete. But I think funds are like issue. He's like trying to do it with as limited funds as possible, and
that was my impression with the way that skate co-op went. I don't feel bad making assumptions about this one because I don't even know the dude.
Yeah.
But okay, getting in there and understanding the cost of rent is one thing. I've done this with the ice house. Knowing that you can cover rent is gonna be a fair amount of money. Having money on top of that to build ramps gets expensive fast, and then it starts to be like a standoff of like you're gonna have to put 10-20 grand into this or people aren't gonna come pay you for the limited like mini ramp and a flat rail that you might have sitting in there. And then you're trying to get people to like sign up for a membership or come pay single admissions, and it just doesn't add up, and then you can't get off the ground unless you go take a giant loan out or come with a hefty investment of ramps. But even then, like the startup cost is not the cost of wood to build the park. The startup cost is like all the wood and everything, months of labor where that's the only thing you're doing, and 3 or 4 months worth of rent while you're not making money. Like you're gonna spend 40 grand to open a park, if not more.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ben spent like a lot of money, or not a lot, not like a. I mean, he spent a good amount of money. I'm pretty sure he spent like almost 6 figures.
I'm sure of it.
Like I know that he was. I remember hearing like little snippets of how he was like in he like maxed out some of his whatever his like credit and like I don't want to get into that whole thing.
No,
like,
no.
So someone maxed out one of his.
It would be
pretty
really
expensive
interesting
credit
to
cards.
have Ben on here
Ben
to
would be
talk
a great
about
one.
it.
And I think Ben's like had a pretty. I don't know. I don't want to talk for Ben, but he's like definitely gone through like a pretty like dramatic change in his life, and he's like, I don't know. I think he's doing great things right now.
Good.
I
haven't talked to him in years. Like I haven't seen him. I don't think since the park closed.
I haven't seen it. I saw him a few years ago riding, but like I was probably not in the best headspace back then. Like
Yeah. So, all right. So back to end of the East Shore days. Like you and Tommy and Spencer, were you guys renting a house together, or what was going on there?
That would have been 2011, I think. Yeah, or early 2012. So like during the final year of East Shore, Tommy, Spencer, and I like got an apartment. Me and Spencer being right out of high school. Tommy's a little bit older than us, but I was working for like this whatever. I was like a laborer for like a construction company. Spencer was like the same thing, and then the construction company that I worked for managed these huge like properties, like ugly apartment buildings, but asbestos sheet, but we got one of them, a 2-bedroom. So me and Spencer got like each a bedroom, and then Tommy was like living in the basement or like on the couch or wherever. But we did that for a while. Like that was like it was quite the learning experience. I was like crappy roommate, definitely. Like I mean, honestly, like up until like the last 5 years, like financially, I've been like a pretty big shithead. Like, and like there was definitely like months where Spencer covered more than my portion, or I'll say my portion, but so like that like ended pretty quickly. I'm pretty sure we like terminated at least pretty quick. That was like right around the time. So like East Shore closed during that apartment, and then I was like, that's when like Steve called me and like flowed me FBM stuff for a little while. Like that got me like pretty excited, and then fast forward like whatever, a few months from that, I like got my daughter was born a year later, and like that kind of from there it was like I like pretty much went from like riding all the time and like living in like a little BMX house to like whole world changed real fast. Like kind of stepped back from riding for a little bit, and like probably like realistically, I mean a lot of stuff happened. Like the mother of my daughter, like we split up pretty early on, and like I caught. I don't want to badmouth her, but caught her with some other guy like a month after my daughter was born. So I like kicked her out more or less.
I mean, you guys are all young, so like.
Yeah. I mean, and like understand that like I was 19, she was 18, like it was young. It's like children having children. But so then like took me like so like I kind of whatever we split up, and then primarily I was like raising my daughter. Like she was like doing her own thing. She was kind of like finding herself, I think. I don't know how to put it like as nicely as possible, but like we were both really young, and, like definitely not ready to have a child, and now there's a child, and I don't know. So I like took the reins on that for like quite a while, and I probably like took like 2 years from riding. Besides for like once every few months. It was
Yeah.
really difficult. That all happened, but that also like unofficially like ended me getting quoted from FDM stuff.
Right. I mean, it kind of dries up as soon as you're not producing content.
I wasn't even. I don't even think there was talks about that. I just got a bunch of boxes of stuff. Like pretty much. I mean, I don't even know. I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm not really sure like what kind of timeline they predicted their future to be. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
they I would assume that they knew years in advance. That, like, ship is sort of sinking. But I don't know.
Yeah, but I think I think that happened multiple times for them, and they were able to, you either pick someone up and it breathes a little bit of new life into it, or like different things happened over different periods, and then I feel like even though they were the stepping stone for a lot of people, I think they then ventured away from being the stepping stone. Like, why do we want to invest a lot of time and effort into the next Aaron Ross for him to leave and go to Sunday?
Yeah.
But it's because for that window of time that he's with you, then you're jamming and making some money, and like you can keep your payroll low if you continually bring up the next hot guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I definitely didn't handle like that whole situation. Like I don't wish it was any different. I mean, I think I made the right choice at the right time. Like, that comes down to it. I mean, bikes have played a major role in my life, but like that was not the time to.
Yeah, no, you chose your daughter over your bike, and it makes sense.
Okay. But I think that I definitely like didn't handle that situation as well as I could have. Like I should have said something and like been like, yo, like I just had a newborn, like, and I'm like kind of doing this on my own, so I should, like, I have to step and like take care of myself. But I don't think it in the long term, I don't think it would have mattered anyway. Like,
Yeah.
That didn't really matter, and like pretty grateful for like work and work BMX.
Yep.
John Quartz. Man.
Yeah. He's supporting a lot of the good local crew. Especially like it's nice to see you guys getting support with some, obviously you've got that story. There's a whole other thing you could get into if you wanted to about just rough history.
Yeah.
That I don't think it, like, it's your story, but I don't think it matters at the end of the day. I think it's how you get to where you're at, but it doesn't define you either. So, like, I think it's good to see someone that wants to support you in that capacity, because you could have said, yeah, the last couple of years, like, it ain't worth it.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely like. I mean, we can go over like some.
High level if you want to. Otherwise, it doesn't. I think a lot of people that are going to listen know you. So.
Yeah. I think that. After like that whole thing, I kind of like fell into drugs and like addiction, and definitely like went through the ringer and like got into this, which like eventually like ended up with me like losing custody of my daughter, and like essentially like I don't know, addiction like took over my entire life, and like I don't know, could have given up one thing for everything, and instead I gave up everything for one thing, and like quite literally, like I had like multiple times that everything that I owned was gone. Like, I just kind of left in the dust. And, like multiple times where I like should have been dead. Like overdosed. Like I overdosed once and like woke up 94 degrees. Should have had brain damage kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like woke up fairly unscathed from that. And like that wasn't enough to like get me out of that life. And then I like eventually it landed me like getting into like a bunch of legal trouble from like possession charges. This is a funny one. This is a pretty. If you made it this far, this is like a good little reward. So I woke up in a. I like must have blacked out. Woke up in a Salvation Army thrift store. Butt ass naked with cuts like all up and down my legs. There was no cameras, so like, but they said there was like a broken window or something like that that I must have climbed through, which would explain all the cuts on my legs. And I guess I lost my pants too climbing through the stupid window. But so I woke up. So like from the point that I remember, like to whatever going to jail over this, I woke up butt naked in a place I've never been to. Like I was like up in this paddock on top of the inventory room, and I had cuts all up and down my legs. So I put these fucking shorts on that were like next to me. They were just like some random shorts, and I just put them on and stood up. And then this lady was like, I don't know how she grabbed a baseball bat so quick, but somehow she had a baseball bat pretty quick, and she was like, "Don't move, muscle." And like that ended up with me getting, because I put the boxers on. That's like, I forget what it is. It's like aggravated something, blah blah blah. But it's like that was a felony, and that was bad.
Yeah.
But pretty stupid. And like it was like, and I wrote it on like on the charge. It like says like $2.50 worth of merchandise, and that $2.50 is like what is the difference between the misdemeanor and the felony. Pretty bad. But in the, I mean, but like I look at like all of my legal trouble, like there was like plenty of bad things that I did, like nothing like ever violent or anything like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and like most of it was just like stupid, like driving around like under the influence and stuff like that, or like stuff like that. There's plenty of bad things, and like that was like kind of, I look at that kind of stuff as like that was my penalty. Like even though it was $2.50, it was like I did plenty of bad before that. Like, I deserved that, but I don't know. Eventually, I like went to like rehabs and stuff like that, like six outpatient or inpatient rehabs, like in different states and stuff like that. Like none of them really worked. And then like the very last time. Meanwhile, I rode like throughout my
you'd ride here and there. You show up.
You could tell when I was like, I would think that you could tell. I mean, looking at all my videos and like all my Instagram posts and stuff like that, you can like, I can tell when I was using and when I wasn't using. But up until like whatever, July 19th was that was the day that I went into like the last rehab that I've been to. And that one was like pretty silly. Not silly, but like that one was pretty bad. I pretty much like at that point for the stupid Salvation Army thing, I got put on like felony drug court, which is like programmed to get your felony reduced to a misdemeanor if you complete treatment for it, which is like pretty brutal, like really hard to do. Like you get like drug tested like regularly, like every day sometimes, and then like you have to jump through a million hoops to like appease probation and all these things. But that was pretty difficult stuff to like do. I kept screwing up. Like, that's why they would send you like you'd screw up if you like didn't go to your appointments. Then they would like literally send you to jail, and then if from jail they would send you to a rehab. Like they subtract like 90 days off your life. When you start subtracting a lot of 90 days off your life, or like however many days I'd be in jail and then rehab, like you start like realizing how short life really is. Like when you start wasting like a year of your life going into these types of places, like really like opens your eyes. But so like I kept repeating, like I'd be good for once in a while, I'd be good for like 6 months, and then like, or not 6 months. I think the longest I ever made it on my own was like 3 months. But then I the last time I like pretty much missed an appointment and then went to court, and they like told me, well, just go to the medical center and get a mental health evaluation. And I was like, okay. So I didn't do that. And then the next day I went to like my outpatient rehab, and they were like, oh, well, we recommend that you go to this place. You can go get your health evaluation here, and then you can stay there for like a night or two, and like they can do their evaluation, and then you can come out. And pretty much I went in there, did their like little health evaluation, then got they as like a business, you know, as a businessman, they recommended that I stay there for forever till my insurance stops paying.
Oh yeah, of course.
And essentially, my probation officer, she said, well, I think that you should do whatever the inpatient treatment center should do. And I'm like, well, they're telling me that I have to stay forever. What do you mean? I was just here for an evaluation. But in reality, I like relapsed before that. Like I deserve all of this. And I'm like grateful that like this experience was so awful. But I like essentially like went in there and like got trapped into the place. And then like I didn't have anywhere that I could like I like lost my apartment, like didn't have anywhere to go, and then like my parents like were sick of like trying to help me out, and it was like tough love. Like they wanted to see me better, so they like didn't want to whatever help me repeat the same patterns. And then so then I ran into this issue where the rehab wanted to get rid of me and were willing to get rid of me if I had a residence. Then how do you get an apartment without being able to use a cell phone or the internet or anything? And you're not allowed to leave this place. But eventually I got out, and then I don't know. I owe a lot to getting. I think I owe a lot to getting sober, to like that experience being that terrible. Like I found out like a couple like really bad things all happened like as soon as I got let out of rehab. Like my dad had a heart attack. He's like recovered and doing great. Some sense put in. That was the scariest thing. I don't like that. And then you may have heard about it, but like there's like a guy named Thomas Rath got like murdered, got like kidnapped and murdered. He was like one of my like dear friends. But that happened. He like found his body, and then my daughter was like, the mother of my child was like, whatever. She was like taking care of our daughter, and then I'm not really. So like, there's a lot of weird stuff that goes into play with this, but like, she thought that she could just like take our daughter wherever she wanted, and in reality, that's not how it works. Like, custody doesn't there's some weird stuff that gets involved, but you have human rights and your human parental rights trump custody laws. Like you have a right to be a father, stuff like that, so you can't take children. There's some like weird loopholes. Like there's ways to get around it, but it's pretty hard. But yeah, so like my daughter's like other side of the country. I just had a heart attack. One of my dear friends was murdered because of same stuff I was into, like drugs and like alcohol and like hanging out with the wrong people. And so like the odds were pretty stacked against me, but it kind of like scared me straight. Like I knew that I didn't know if I could handle it sober. Like let alone like I know I can't handle it on drugs, but I know that. Or so like I got through all that though. It's like quite a bit. That's pretty like gnarly stuff, but then like finally graduated like drug court and all that jazz. I was like I'm still on probation to this day, but that will end shortly. 2 months.
That's awesome.
And then, but yeah, I mean, like, kind of finish that whole tangent. Like, life just like got tremendously better from there. Like, I got through like all of that stuff. Like worked my ass off. Rode a ton. Rode probably more, and like, I mean, I think I don't like sounding like this stuff, but like right now I'm better than I've like ever been riding wise, like financially, like everything, every aspect of my life has changed. Like really, really good. I wish that I got clean a lot sooner, but like got married. A little under a year ago. Like, yeah, no, life is like pretty incredible now.
What's the situation with your daughter now?
Oh yeah. So like fought, like went to the courthouse pretty instantaneously. Like as soon as I got out of, so like that part like happened as I found out. So while I was in that rehab, the mother brought my daughter up, and like, which that's like if I don't know, that makes you feel like crap seeing your child. Like, I don't think that many child. I mean, I think that good to see your father or whatever, but it's a bad situation. But so like, it makes you feel like such a worthless pile of crap to be on the other side of that. But so I like saw my daughter, and then she like had mentioned something about like going to Oregon, and then like a couple weeks go by. Oh, we're in Oregon. So like, then I like, got out and like filed for my daughter to come back, and like went through like pretty long, extensive legal fighting to get my daughter back in my life, and like eventually they moved back on their own. And I don't know. I've never really had that conversation. I don't know what made them move back, but for some reason it wasn't working out in Oregon, so they moved back. Or maybe they thought that they had to move back for the legal stuff. But
yeah, it may have happened on their lawyer end, and it's like, look at, you're gonna have to do this anyway, so you can make it your idea, or you can just make it ours.
I didn't question it, and I'm entirely grateful that it happened, and she, whatever. Now we have joint custody. I have her like out of every 2 weeks. For every 8 days out of 14 days. But,
awesome.
But she stays with her mother a lot of those nights. I'd pick her up from school and drop her back off. But yeah, we had like joint custody and like rebuilding a relationship with her, and yeah, no, that I couldn't be more stoked on that situation. Then I have like two stepchildren also.
Okay.
Pretty incredible. I mean,
Well,
she's going through like a legal situation with one of the fathers is to say the least.
Well, the experiences through a lot of this, though, like, you fought through this, right? Like, if you have another challenge, whether it's, I don't know, how can you even say, but other challenges that are going to come up in your life are going to be like, okay, like, we can deal with that. That's easy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of, I think that it's like the way that I look at life is like pretty like optimistic. I mean, like I don't know, I've been through some crap. Like I've been through some like awful stuff and like seen some really awful things, and like there's like, I mean, there's an immense amount of like beauty in this world. There's like a lot of beauty in like the struggle of everything. And, like I think that like makes life like great as it is. Like, it wasn't hard, then why would you do it? Or,
So, general question for you, just from like, it's an experience I haven't had. So, when you go into these rehabs, do you go in wanting to stop, or do you go in because you have to? And then, like, when you're in there, are you kind of going like, man, I can't wait till I get out so I can go use or whatever, or do you kind of get past that for a short period?
So like going into them, like my experience and like what I saw other people experience, is that like, so drug addicts and alcoholics are like really good at manipulating situations, and I also think that if you're in that position, there's a good chance that that person doesn't want to be in that position ever. Like maybe not ever. Like I bet you there's some people that are like think being like a drug addict is great, but like I think it's like 1% of the entire population of drug addicts. Like I don't think there's anyone on the streets doing heroin. Heroin's the best. Like
I think maybe not hard drugs, but alcohol.
yeah, I mean alcohol is like the worst. I don't know.
It's socially acceptable. It's so different.
Yeah, I mean it's socially acceptable. You can get it anywhere. It's in front of you everywhere.
It's
and
great.
It's like something that you should do. And like there's people like walking around our union jobs just like with Budweiser shirts, and I'm just like, huh?
Or you go out to dinner with a group of work people, and it's like, oh, I have a drink, and like, well, why wouldn't you? And you're just like, no, man, I can't.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely I mean, I think that everybody's like respected me, but like most people like won't. I mean, I don't really care if like anybody drinks around me. Like, so, well, here to answer your question about the rehabs.
Yeah.
The rehab thing was like, I think that the people that end up in those kind of institutions and places are very good at manipulating systems. Like they've been doing it for a long time. That's why it took them 15 years of breaking laws to end up finally getting in trouble and having to be in a position like that. So like I think that people are really down when they get there, and like they really do want to change their life, but it takes like a lot more than just like wanting to change your life to actually change your life. So you can like I went through like six of them total, and hours, like every time, did great in them. Like sometimes I'd last, like I think the first time I did it, I lasted 1 hour. I was like getting a car ride home from like their little chauffeur, and I was like tapping my foot. But then like, and it progressively got longer and longer periods of time as like kept going back. But I also kept going to worse, like harder to deal with places, very strict ones. But I don't know. You have to like truly, you have to be sick of it, and you have to like actually want it. And like, and I was in like a position, like in the past 2 years of like, besides for like all the work that I've missed, just like the legal fees that I had like piled up, like over $10,000 just from like tickets, like from like stupid possession charges or like I got like 2 DWAIs for like the course of 10 years. I couldn't drive until like August of last year. Not legally, definitely did, but
Right.
I mean, no, I didn't. But
Allegedly could have.
I allegedly could have driven, but yeah, I mean, I couldn't legally drive until that, like until August of last year. Like that's what like started. Like I always, like I got into like food and stuff while like food service industry, like while I couldn't drive because I couldn't, like, you're gonna hire a tile setter that can't go to the job sites. Like, pretty hard to, I don't know. But so yeah, I definitely I don't know, definitely like wanted it, and like pushed real hard to get everything that I wanted back. Still working at it. Like I don't know, I'm still like jumping through hoops trying to get everything sorted out. I think that there's like, I mean, there's like such a, I mean, I spent like 10 years like neglecting finances, like not paying stuff and like doing stuff up. So it's like I've been sober almost 2 years now, and like I've got like huge chunks of it taken care of, but like there's still a drop in the bucket. But like my credit's like destroyed my credit, but like I'm working on that even.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I did it. I own it. Like I don't know. I'll get through it. There's something. There was like a tangent that we were about to go off on. I wanted to finish your question.
Yeah, you hit like a point in that story where you could have gone a different direction. I don't recall exactly what it was. I don't know. I don't know offhand. I know we've been going for quite a while, about 3 hours in total between the two recordings. So, I know leading into that, we were just talking about, getting, hooked up by John with work stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how we transitioned into that conversation was, like with that history, it would be really easy to just not take someone on too, and flow them stuff that, could just end up being sold out next week for the next fix.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I will say, not that you're like making any assumptions. I never once didn't have my bike. There was one time actually that this like addict that I was like seeing, she did steal my bike, and like I had gotten home from jail and like got home and like opened my door to my like little studio apartment like 4 or 5 years ago, and like my bike wasn't there, and I was like, where? And like I guess it turned out that I must have gotten a flat somehow, like a block away from my house. So, like she like ditched it somewhere. And it was like, that was the, yeah, I don't know.
Well, no, I was not making any assumptions
I
about
don't-
that, but like kind of a bigger picture, like it would be easy for someone to be like, no, I'm not hooking someone up.
Yeah, definitely.
So, like, obviously, there's other history of just knowing people, and seeing value in people, which is nice.
Yeah. No, I mean, John is like, he is incredible, and I'm like entirely grateful for everything that he's done for me. Same with like Tommy, Andy, everybody that's like kind of stuck by my side, like through thick and thin. Like there was definitely some rough times, and like most people like gave me space or like tried to help out, but didn't push too hard, and like yeah, especially like Tommy and Casey. A lot of time with both of them.
That's good, because I know you and Casey roomed together for a little while, right?
Yeah.
I know there was some ups and downs there, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's like that's essentially like the first time that I like tried to get sober, and that was like before like the rehabs or like any of like the super serious legal trouble happened. But I essentially like moved up there, and was like running away from my addiction, and it worked for like a little while. Besides like an addict's an addict, doesn't matter what city they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Soon
If
as that,
you
like,
wanted to find something, you will.
Yeah, like there's addicts in every single city and every single little town in America, like in the entire world, probably. Imagine. Maybe not the Arctic.
So how do you prevent that moving forward, right? Like,
I mean, I just take things like a day at a time. I'm like, I don't really. I have a good idea at this point. I have enough time established that I have a good idea that I'm not gonna probably be sober, or I'm probably gonna be sober for the next few years. But like, I'm not entirely sure. Like the odds were like incredibly stacked against me getting out of rehab the last time, and like. I think that like just the unfortunate chain of events that happened like led to me being like I cannot use. Like if I use, then I'm like letting down a lot of people, and like I'm not gonna be there for my family, and like my dad thing like really screwed with my head. For a little while, like that was very difficult for me to like. It was the first time I've ever like been by someone that's like sick, someone close to me that's sick, or like laying in a hospital bed for a long period of time. And, like that was like really hard for me. But I mean, I went to like AA for a long time, and like court ordered in. I went after I stopped being court ordered too, but. And I do like a certain number of like meditation or like stuff like that I read like a lot, but I do that like mainly just for myself, I think at this point. And then but I mean I think that I just like needed to want it and like really treat it as like life and death.
Yeah. I know it's like in the moment, I'm sure you can't imagine yourself going back to it. So I hope that stays the case.
Yeah, I mean.
But like you said before, an addict's an addict, so you have to stay vigilant on it too. And
yeah. I mean,
do you know your own tells? I guess is maybe a good question. Like when you're starting to.
Yeah, I mean I haven't had like an urge or like anything like that in like since in this duration of like in this almost 2-year period.
Good.
Like because like that's what I was gonna say. Like another thing that was like stacked up against me was like the way that I got out of, so the way that I got out of that rehab from being like stuck in that weird position where like I needed to find an apartment was like this guy that was in there with me. He like this guy Ed. He was like he became like a dear friend of mine too, and he like helped me out, and I'll like never like forget that. But he was like in there with me, and he's like telling me like, yeah, I got an extra apartment, and as soon as I get out of here, I will call you, and I'll tell you that you can live in my apartment, so you can get out of here too, because it's like BS that you're stuck in here, whatever, for the foreseeable future until you can dream up an apartment. And like, I thought this guy was just like giving me a load of crap. Like, there's a lot of people that are gonna say that kind of stuff in a facility like that, and like, sure enough, like that next day, he called me up and he like told my counselors and like all that stuff that I could get out of there. But so he had let me live in this extra apartment he had for like a little bit. But he actually, I feel like bad saying this, but like he eventually like relapsed and he got kicked out. His wife kicked him out. That's like how he had the extra apartment. He used to live in it. Then he got married and then he moved in it, but he kept the lease. So he had this empty apartment, but his wife kicked him out because he started drinking. And then he came in and stayed with me. So like I'm going through all this stuff, and there's some guy like belligerently drunk on the couch of the apartment, and like he's like living in the space that I'm in the entire time. And like, yeah, so I don't know. Like I've been like around it, and then I was like in the food industry. I was like working with a bunch of drunks. And, like,
Yeah. Oh, the food industry is kind of messy.
I've been like around it like constantly, and like I still like I don't want to like name any names, but there's like people in the BMX industry that are like who I was like fairly close with, and like that whatever may have or may have not sold things, and like that would be a trigger if anything. Like, but
yeah,
at this point, it's more of like pretty like disgusted with what it did to my life. I'm like very like ashamed of it in a lot of ways. But not ashamed. I own everything I did. I did some stupid stuff and still alive.
I think it helps though that like you had your lows, and then you've had, since then you've turned a lot around. So like you've got two very like black and white scenarios to compare as well.
Yeah, I mean, I look at like where I'm at today and the things that I've like accomplished in this 2-year period or less than 2-year period, and like it's like so drastically different than what it was 3 years ago. I thought I was gonna end up dead. Pretty convinced that I was gonna. I think that was like the ultimate goal, really. But, yeah, I don't know. Life has changed so much for the best. Every aspect of life. Get to be a father and like a husband and son and pretty good worker. Good rider. Good friend. Had to be.
Well, I'm glad that you've made your way through it all.
Yeah.
It's a good change. So like while I was living in Pittsburgh, the number of people in some of those crews that have passed away from different overdoses and drugs and stuff is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Whether they're in the crew or crew adjacent, friends, girlfriends, like that's so crazy to watch certain groups lose so many people in set periods of time. And it's not a huge factor, but it was another factor in me moving back home too. Was, a couple people passed away from, I think it was heroin, and then one of our friends' little brothers got in a car accident and died, and then another one of our friends hit a telephone pole on his motorcycle, and like all within like a year or two. And you're going to these funerals, like, man, like, life is short, and I'm passing it by away from my family. So it was definitely a factor in those decisions. It wasn't like the key decision maker, but
yeah. No, it's hard not to like look back at the time period of my life and like that's like a chunk that I'll never get back, and like that's a chunk that like living through that, like from the day to day, it's kind of like putting like beer goggles on. Like it's all like sort of like I can remember like the majority of everything that happened, but like it's all kind of a blur at the same time. Like it was just like the same stupid cycle of like, or sometimes I'd like be doing well, and like I did it well for like I think that I did it well, but I probably didn't. But I was like pretty successful at it because I was pretty good at making money and like making money legitimately. Like, like I didn't rob, steal, any, didn't sell me crap or anything like that. I was like pretty good at making money. I was doing like side work. I could do like side work. I could do side work as my full-time work and work for like a week and then have enough money to like pay for the next month and a half of drinking and drugging.
yeah,
Which is like not a good thing. I think if someone that can make money and do things sort of legally, pretty dangerous because then it like just promotes it. Like, oh, it's sort of okay. Not that bad. Not that guy.
I think it's easy to. So you're talking about financial stuff. There's a show that I watch on YouTube, Financial Audit. And one of the things that so many people on that show say is, well, it could be worse. And he's like, it can always be worse. But, like, do we compare ourselves to bad? Or do we strive to be better?
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty interesting in that regard. But anyway, so what's in store for the future then? Like, what, where are you going from here?
So obviously there's like July 19th jam. That's cool. I'm definitely working on. So like last year I had like the big locals video thing. That was like a lot of self-filmed footage, but that was all me, like editing and stuff like that. Like I put the video together. Casey and Tommy and John held the camera a few times, but I'm gonna do another one of those. But I don't think I'm gonna try not to have like any self-filmed footage in it. I don't. The tripod shots are getting old, but maybe once in a while. But yeah. So I'm doing another video this year, definitely. Yeah, I'm gonna ride a bunch, as much as I can.
Awesome.
The almost good thing. The almost good thing is like kind of a joke on my entire life. It's like I was almost good. Yeah. But if anybody has any. Kind of funny.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I will tell you. So Carson has been wearing your, I think, a t-shirt around that you gave him. He's so stoked on it.
It's like it's funny and good. It's kind of good.
Almost.
It's almost good. But I mean, there's like a lot of like little funny puns involved in it. But that's like really what it. I mean, it really stemmed from like, I don't know. I think it stemmed from me and Tommy talking about like casing something or something. Like, that was almost good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that was almost good. And then I was like, yeah, that could be like a company.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't been doing like too much with it. These things are like new, but and there's a matching shirt. Something like that.
Sweet.
There's a green one, not a purple one.
Maybe doing more and more and more. I don't know. So, if people want, is it almost good on Instagram or is it almost good BMX? Do you know
Almost
what the
Good
Instagram
BMX.
is? Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of bad that I don't know that.
Kind of bad is the sister company.
Almost Good BMX, and then same on YouTube. And those are the only things I post on. Don't
Okay.
like Facebook.
I don't like Facebook either. If I didn't have like the business side of GrindWorks and Uptime, be like, why even have it? Other than that family likes to see pictures of Ryder. And that made sense while I was in Pittsburgh, but now I'm like, I don't know why I have this. I actually almost felt bad. I got like a whole bunch of happy birthdays on there this year, and every year I like make a point, and it kind of draws me back into using Facebook to go in and say thank you, and I ignored every single one this year. And like, I kind of feel bad about it, but also I don't want to be using Facebook, so.
Well, the only thing that I miss about Facebook is marketplace. But
Yeah,
at the
because
same
Craigslist
time,
isn't as good as it used to be.
But at the same time, you end up when you do have marketplace, you end up buying a bunch of stuff that you don't need. That's like junky.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So I'm sure you're probably almost at this point, but like, as you've kind of come around on your financial life as well, like, it's kind of nice when you go to Target or Walmart and you walk around and you're just like, I don't need anything here.
Yeah.
Like, I literally don't want anything they have.
Yeah. No.
And that's like a sweet feeling when you finally do that. I compare it back a few years ago when you finally had a really nice bike and you're looking in Dan's comp and you're like, I don't want anything. Like, there's nothing in here that I want that isn't what I already have.
So besides for that, the Marauder that I bought, so that was the first bike I bought.
Mm-hmm.
The second bike that I bought, and I still didn't buy it all. Is the bike that I'm on now. Like every other bike has been like flowed to me by some company or whatever. Like work at like FBM gave me a bunch of frames, or a few of them, and then pretty much like hand me down stuff until like this bike, which like I went kind of all out on. But, like,
That's awesome.
but I mean, I spent like quite a bit of money on like doing my life up. So like, I think I can afford spending like quite a bit of money on something that's gonna last me at least a year.
Yep.
But yeah, no, and like for a while, I think I was like rewarding myself with like these stupid little things, like bought like a camera, like a MacBook Pro. I bought a bunch of like little things as like little goals or like incentives to like continue this lifestyle, but like eventually like that kind of like diminished, and I was just like, I don't really like, I don't need to buy another MacBook.
Exactly. Like eventually you get to a point where you're like, I'm actually pretty good.
Yeah, fine. But now I have like a huge big house that me and my wife have, and all our kids, and
yeah, your probably next stuff is like really actual goals, like
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to.
So that's nice.
Kind of like, I'm someone who's like definitely like designed to like be a homeowner and like have some property.
Yeah, I think you have the necessary skills for it.
Yeah, I like did a lot of. I mean, I like grew up in a household that did a lot of like masonry and a lot of every kind of work and pretty enjoyable stuff to me. Really, be nice to have a little. But definitely like in the 10-year goal, like there's definitely either private skate park or a public skate park involved in that. I'd love to do a public skate park, but I don't. It'd be hard to do it. It'd be really hard to do it in Ithaca. It'd be more plausible in like Binghamton or like Elmira, but I don't think the scene is what it used to be.
It's definitely not, but that doesn't mean it can't be developed and fostered either. Like, that's a challenge. But I think you can develop it.
But I think that like if you go into it, like no matter what, like that's why I say private or public, like be willing to like sink some money into something. But
So have you, like, I don't know how much you've looked into the Nowhere Park that they're doing out in Nebraska, where it's just free.
Yeah.
You know, other than their one event a year they host that they charge for.
Yeah.
Everything.
That's right.
is free.
That's on the dude's property, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like something like that would be pretty bad, but I don't know if I could handle all that kind of skate park. But
I think it's. I know it's as a nonprofit, and then he's got the shop too, so like that helps. I think sustain some stuff, but I think it also helps that they are in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So if there's a scene, they're coming to you.
Yeah.
And I know that people have moved out there. Not probably specifically for that, but people do move out there and then they join that scene. So, I don't know a ton about it. Like, I've talked with Carl a good handful of times.
Yeah. I mean, he's awesome.
I think what he's doing is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely like an inspiration. To be an inspiration for all of BMX.
Yeah. I think it would be really interesting to know more about how that nonprofit works, but it also may be advantageous to not talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's pretty interesting. I mean, if it's a non-profit, then but nonprofits, they have to generate some revenue.
Well, they can. It just all has to be reinvested or donated in some capacity.
Yeah.
I don't know the ins and outs of nonprofit.
Yeah. I know that there's a lot more than. Or I know that there's a lot more than I care to know about.
Yeah. Yeah, and it depends on whether it's like a charity or a nonprofit too, because a not-for-profit business can still generate money.
Yeah, I mean, like Green Star Food Co-op is a nonprofit, but
it's not charity.
No, it's not charity. There's a lot of people getting paid lots of money. Like that's sort of but yeah.
So, before we wrap, you got anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so. I think that pretty much covered it all.
What's your opinion on BMX streets?
Oh, BMX streets? I don't have one. I'm like, I mean, so my initial opinion, seeing the videos of other people playing it, I've never played it. I bought it. I bought computers for it. Realized that it wasn't going to run it, and then so I got stuck with the desktops and stuff like that. That won't run BMX Street.
Why won't
so
it run?
I have a graphics card.
Okay.
Yeah, you need like you need like, you could probably get a used one for like $500 that can run it. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I've like sank like a bunch of money into that silly little game. And like, I mean, I bought like pipe like multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, I bought multiple PlayStation 4s, 3s, Xbox 3s, or Xbox 1s, like, just to play that game. It's the only game I play. Pretty silly. But
Pipe's still fun. BMX Streets is
not,
it's not pipe. It's close.
doesn't even look close.
Well, like, so when you start playing it, it's very frustrating, the very first playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
But then, kind of like pipe, like when you first started out, it was awful, and then it clicks all of a sudden, and you can kind of just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Streets is kind of the same way.
Pipe is like, I'm still having fun with just the demo on my PlayStation. Like it's like, sounds so stupid, but it's like riding a bike. You can just like, you can make lines and like there's new tricks that I do all the time. Like
and sometimes you just do the same run. Like I could do this warm-up run over and over every day.
I have a, if anyone, or if you want to just cut this out and like just steal this idea, go for it. But I think it would be fun to like recreate people's parts. This would be a good retirement thing for me. Like, I can't pedal anymore. Just like start recreating parts on like BMX Street of like Garrett Reynolds props bio, and then like find a spot in the game.
So with the mods on the PC, you could just create a map that's like all the spots for this one part, and then you could go do all those tricks. You could feasibly do that.
Like Sean Burns' anthem.
Did you ever see the finger biker on Instagram where they're recreating all these Garrett Reynolds lines on a finger bike?
No.
It's ridiculous. I think that's what it's called, is the finger biker.
That's funny.
It's so good. But yeah, it was weird to get into the Streets. Now, when it dropped, it came out for, I don't know, like $60 or something. And people lost their mind at how the game was not what they wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And it had so many bugs, like, right away.
Yeah.
And I think within a couple hours, they dropped the price to like $40 or something.
I should have got a refund then.
They allowed it for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, I paid $60
But
for it.
I also did. I did, and I was like, okay, I could go get my $20 back, but I'm also not upset by this game. Like, some people were very upset. I was not that upset by it, so I was fine with it.
Tommy told me that I could probably get it because I don't have any hours on it, on the game itself, and it's on Steam. So like, he said, because I don't have any hours on it, I could actually just ask for my money back. And I'll give it to him.
I think so.
Played it. I ran it.
Now,
once.
they have been reworking the physics on a game called Mashbox, which is free.
Is that that's not the cartoony looking one?
A little bit. No, that's Street Dog.
Yeah.
You're thinking of. No, so Mashbox is still it's a hybrid of Streets and Pipe.
Oh.
And they're just reworking the physics, and then they're gonna basically re-release Streets as a 2.0 before it goes to console.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, even if you could play it right now, at this point, I would say just wait until 2.0. I mean, I'll let you play it if you want to play it before you roll out, but
I'll ride it. I'll play it for a second. But Yeah, no, I mean, pipe is. Everybody seems to hate streets, so.
I don't
Not
hate
hate
streets.
it, but it's not pipe.
It's not pipe, and the problem is they played pipe for 5, 6, 7 years before you got streets. So like,
it's like playing like Tony Hawk versus EA Skate.
yeah,
Well, probably backwards. I could have. I shouldn't like try too much because I could have off my Mac, off my laptop. I could have. You probably know how to do this, but you can like.
you can run a Windows on.
You can run Windows off it, so I could have ran it off my Dell and played it because my.
No, you could just play
laptop.
it on your Mac.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not sure how you do it, but I have friends that have definitely. I've played multiplayer with them from their Mac.
I mean, there's probably a way, and I don't know, but I've given up. I'm like, yeah, I'll just stop.
Okay.
I'm like,
At some point.
I bought like the nicest computer that Walmart had or something like that because after I bought the game I was so frustrated that I couldn't play it on my like Dell that I had, and so I got like mad, went to Walmart, bought the nicest computer that they like had, still weren't run it. Still the graphics card couldn't do it.
Really?
Yeah, I was so bummed.
That's
I was so angry at that point. I just got so invested in the $60 game that I was willing to spend like $800 on this $60 game just so I could play one game and still can't.
But it's like you would spend that much, but you also know that you'd play that game for the next 10 years.
I've been playing
so.
pipe. I still play pipe every day, like almost every single day. Like it's just like a habit. I don't like watching videos. I don't pay for cable.
Yep.
Like YouTube videos get old pretty fast.
Yes.
Like even with premium.
So I haven't had the luxury now, but like when I was at my last company, there were times like I worked from home for the last 2 years.
Mm.
And there were times, no, 1 year working from home. Anyway, there were times where I'd be on like a meeting that was just going to be hours long.
Mm.
For phone calls that didn't have anything to do with me, but I had to be there to talk.
Yeah.
It was for sure on pipe.
Yeah. Yep. I know. It'd be pretty easy to do this.
Well, so I'll show you my setup a little bit, but there's actually 2 computers. Both of them are 4-monitor computers. And they're all on toggle switches, so I can just switch to the other computer.
Mm.
Or I can turn one of these monitors off and import the Xbox. It's on dual HDMI matrices right there.
Mm.
And then there's little HDMI switches up next to them for each other monitor.
That's sweet.
And then there's an audio mixer for both computer audios to come into the same speaker set.
Huh.
Pretty neat, right?
Yeah.
But it's a complicated little mess, so.
Yeah, I mean, it looks it underneath.
So, all that said, any last words, any shout outs, anything you want to do, and we'll call this a wrap?
Just shout out to everybody, that friends, family, my wife, have been with me through thick and thin and supported me and helped me through my lovely journey, construction. But thanks for everybody if you made it this far. Like, you should send me an Instagram DM. I'll send you a free T-shirt if someone makes it this far, other than Ferguson.
Yeah, no, I don't count. So, alright. Instagram DM almost good BMX for a free T-shirt. You might get a couple of those.
I'll send out a couple. I'm not gonna say.
You can get 50.
I've got plenty of like screwed up ones that I messed up on.
Someone's gonna go tag, like, hey everyone, go listen to whatever this timestamp is.
How long is it?
So we paused about an hour in, and we're at 2 hours 37 minutes on this recording. So almost 4 hours. It's fine. So the only other thing I'll say then to close this out is keep your eyes out for a flyer for July 19th at the pool.
Yeah, and
The Lost Bowl.
share it with your friends.
All right, until next time.
Until next time.